that someone left it to the colored man. Brothers, sisters, what must be, must be. So the balance is wrong, till your faith must be strong, accept your destiny. Brothers, listen to me. Someone had picked cotton. Someone had a plant corn. Someone had a slave and be able to sing. That's why donkeys were born. Someone had a laugh at trouble, though he was tired and worn. Had to be contented with any old thing. That's why donkeys were born. Sing, sing, sing when you're weary, and sing when you're blue. Sing, sing, that's what you told all them white folks to do. Someone had to fight that old devil. Shout about Gabriel's horn. Someone had to soak that old train that would bring our children to green pastures. That's what donkeys were
Making flame come out of your butthole.
God's gonna have a flame coming out of your butthole.
It's the Fatherland, episode 160. Fatherland. Hello, everybody. Sorry for the extremely late start, even by Nick Fuentes standards, and I use him as my gold standard for being on time. My drops are a bit low. Okay, I'll look into that. That one might be a bit quiet though. That one was a homemade one. Let me try one that I know hasn't been quiet in the past. And we'll do that as a quick test. I don't know. Nobody's ever complained about this one.
Schvuggy.
I don't know. How's that? Okay. See, yeah, that was just that drop. Sorry. I just wish I had more time for audio production. I have a bit for the break this week that I really needed to do some production on it because unfortunately it works better in video form. However, I decided to stick with it because it was still pretty interesting. You'll see what I mean, but there's some foreign language in there that they do on the video and you see the subtitles. And I was like, man, if I had like another 2 hours today, I could go and I could just do the video and I could like write out the subtitles and then I could just read them off, or I could be like, yes. And I would just do my like dub voice over where the people are speaking. I just didn't have time. Um, Sundays, it seems like there's so much time but there's just never seems like there's never enough time. And it doesn't help that my wife guaranteed always starts dinner late. Of course, this time I don't think it was her fault. I was downstairs and I was doing stuff, trying to get ready for the show that was going to be in an hour or two. And I hear like her yelling at my mother-in-law. And, so my mother-in-law must have screwed up dinner tonight. So I'm going to blame my lateness on my mother-in-law. Of course, I also had some technical problems. Um, what are you going to do? But yeah, anyway, I figure if I can be here within 20 minutes of the start time, I'm going by the official Nick Fuentes gold standard, because I swear every time I watch one of his videos, he says he's going to start at 8. It's always 20 minutes after, like you can almost set your watch by it. As you go and I'm just like, at this point, I'll go and I'll start a Nick Fuentes video, and I don't even watch the little thumbnails that pop up on YouTube when you move through, when you scrub through the track. I just move it to 20 minutes, and like almost guaranteed I'm about 30 seconds out from him coming on. I don't know what his deal is. Maybe he needs to talk to his mom about getting that dinner ready earlier. Poor guy. I don't like to make fun of him for that. A lot of guys in that situation, and it's not their fault. Anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest, guys. I'm gonna try not to act like it, but I'm a little low energy today. I don't know what it is. I've been off for several days now. My sleep schedule's been pretty normal. I've even been taking naps. Uh, been working with. I don't know if I talked about this last week or not. I've been working on uh, getting Chicken to take naps, and we hit upon the idea, or my wife came up with the idea, frankly, of the family nap, where we have a king size bed. And so we all get into bed and we all take a nap at the same time together, where we have Chicken in between us. So she like can't escape. And that seems to make it less of a fight and makes her more likely to want to fall asleep. So we all take a nap together. Then we tend to get up at different times. I tend to get up first, although sometimes Chicken gets up first. And then, we usually have to go rouse mama because this baby is kicking her ass. I think it's a good strategy. It seems to help. And of course, like it prevents when your kid doesn't take a nap, that sudden drop off and energy that they get at the end of the day, to where we'd have dinner times and she'd just be melting down over nothing at dinner time, because we eat a little bit on the continental hour. And so that's pretty close, tends to be kind of close to her bedtime.
Yeah, naps are important.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some people counter signal naps. And I don't understand that. Like, I think really, frankly, everybody should try to take a nap if they can, honestly.
I mean, children just need a schedule. I mean, that's one of the most
Yeah.
important things to have an even keeled child, is make sure they're on a schedule. They crave the structure, and I would think that naps would be probably the most important thing.
I mean, definitely for kids, because they do require more than 8 hours of sleep a day. Like, young kids, they need at least 9 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah, that's about what my son gets per night. I
Yeah.
mean, he goes to bed between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We'll say he's probably awake until just after 9 before he actually falls asleep. And like clockwork, he's up at 7:30 every morning.
Mm.
Because I'll be getting ready for work, and I'll hear him come out of his room, go in our room, and go lay with my wife.
Now, even then, I mean, I would think your kid would still need a nap, like, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
just somehow
anytime we can.
their energy just suddenly will just drop off in the evening. Whereas if you get them that afternoon nap, even if it's just for half an hour or an hour, it really gets them through the remainder of their day.
Yeah. I mean, he used to take naps more regularly. Now life is just a little busier for us.
Yeah.
where we do things at odd hours. Sometimes he's not home to take a nap. Um, so he'll catch a cat nap in the car. Pretty much every day. If he's in the car, he'll catch a cat nap. But when he was a baby, he would sleep. I swear that boy would sleep 12 to 14 hours a night for like the
Mhm.
first 2 years of his life.
Yeah.
And it was good for me because I work night shift, and the wife worked in the morning. She worked like 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So I would work till midnight, get up with him at around 10, and she would come home at like 4. I'd go to work at 4:30. So it was actually the perfect schedule for us to, be able to both work and be with him.
Hmm.
Um, not the ideal situation, definitely,
Yeah.
but we made the best of it. I mean, and we did it for over 2 years. But yeah, I mean, him sleeping that long. At first, I thought there was something wrong with him. I'm like, why is he sleeping so long? Are we have like some crazy mold in this house that like he's just sleeping like crazy.
Yeah,
But
it can be a little concerning, I guess, if you're, your first kid and then, um, everybody else is like, oh, babies, they just never sleep. And
no,
then,
he rarely woke up too.
yeah.
Like when he was breastfeeding. I mean, we bottled a lot of the breast milk too. Um, and he would not wake up in the middle of the night. It was just, I mean,
Wow.
sometimes he would, but I
I
mean,
have
when
to
he was
admit that
really little.
that'd be pretty scary, at least until you got used to it right at the beginning. Because I know that, like, right at the beginning, right after Chicken was born, like, it was pretty scary. Like, I would be constantly, like, going to her room and checking, make
Oh
sure she's
yeah,
still breathing,
yeah, yeah. You just put your hand next to their mouth. They're like, please, he's
Yeah,
breathing, please.
I still do that sometimes.
Did you ever get a camera?
No, no, we never did. We had a monitor, so we
Yeah,
could
we
hear
got
her.
this really
But
low res camera,
yeah,
but it had
how,
night vision on
um,
it,
how are
just
you
to
gonna
make
tell
sure
anything
he's
from
not gonna
that?
get to sleep.
Can you see them? Could you tell that they were breathing on that? I would think you wouldn't be able to.
No, but I mean, it was very sensitive as far as the audio went.
Yeah.
Um, and also it had you could control lullabies and stuff on the thing.
Oh.
So you could like pick lullabies that you wanted. You can zoom in and zoom out on it. It was really low res, so we like had it zoomed in, every time we had it on. But definitely for the next one, which hopefully that's soon because we're trying. Um, we're gonna get like a full HD camera. I would like to hear some people's experiences with those if they had any.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know about the camera. My wife wants to get a this thing that you put on their big toe, and it's basically
like a heart monitor.
it's a heart monitor and oxygen saturation monitor, what they call a pulse ox.
Mm.
And that I would find more useful. Of course, she's like, "Oh, we should get this." And I was like, "Yeah, here's what's going to happen, right? The baby's going to kick it off in the middle of the night, and then it's going to go like, warning, warning, baby is dying, baby is dying." And like, and like we're all gonna like run over, and we're just gonna be like, oh, it just popped off. And then the baby's gonna wake up, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, well, enjoy feeding the baby, because I'm going back to bed. Daddy's got to go to work. Like, and she's like, well, we can tape it on her or something. And I was like, all right, I'm just warning you, like these instruments and all that, it's nice, but they come off, and it's one thing when you're like some crackhead RN who's like, you know, 3 overtime shifts deep, and like they just, the alarm goes off, they just walk in like whatever, like, oh, it fell off, put it back on, go back to the station, smoke some more crack. But, when you're the parents, like, that's never going to happen. You're always going to freak out whenever those alarms go off that the baby's oxygen is dropping or its heart stopped or whatever. You're never going to be able to be cold-blooded about it.
Yeah, that's
Look forward to those stories because, of course, my wife wants one, so we're going to get one.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's been said many of times. There's hills to die on. There's hills just
Mm.
to leave alone. I mean, if it's not going to
Also,
harm anything, well, I mean, it may harm you. You get up in the middle of the night and freaking out and have a freaking heart attack. But
look forward to meeting me at the next meetup of the rest of our comrades all struggling for world revolution because my hair will have gone completely fucking white from that. Look like Mark fucking Twain.
wait, I thought you already had white hair.
No, I have gray hair. My hair went
Oh,
completely gray after Chicken was born. My wife says it's salt and pepper, but I think it's pretty much gray. To the point where I was like, maybe I should dye my hair. Get some of that Just for Men, just comb it in.
oh, don't do that. You don't want to throw some pain in that, man. Own it.
No,
Own it.
man. Because I'm only 40 years old, and people are like, "Wow, man, Jim is like a boomer. He
Well, look
must be
at
like
Sven.
55, man. Like, man, do you remember the 60s?" And it's like, "Man, fuck you." It would be one thing if the youth respected elders, but they don't, especially because of the boomer meme. They hate anybody older than 30, which is kind of
Yeah,
ironic.
man. I used to look up to the Xers, whenever I was, early 2000s and stuff. I used to look up to the Xers, and like nowadays, like Gen Z is just consistently bully siding millennials.
Hmm. Well, not that they don't entirely deserve that, but
Yeah, well,
it wasn't all their fault either. I mean, there was a lot of
they
stupid shit
get
that
the
happened
fuck
to
off
those.
the lawn, though. I'll tell you that
Yeah,
much.
really. Oh, I was doing some lawn work this weekend. Since it's a really long weekend for me, I was able to have some time to go out and work on the lawn. I hadn't been able to cut it for a couple of weeks just because my shifts were all like slammed up together to where it would be raining. And so I was able to go out and start, cutting the lawn. And my mother was here visiting. And so it was great because, like, her and my mother-in-law were both fighting over, like, who was going to mow the lawn. And I'm just like, ladies, there's plenty of lawn for both of you. Like, I'm just kicking back on the deck, drinking a beer, watching my watching my mother's mow the lawn. That was great.
So what kind of how do you like to mow your lawn, Jim?
How do I
Do you
like
like
to mow my lawn?
strips, or do
Preferably
you do it in circles?
what?
When you mow your lawn, do you do the perimeter, or do you do strips going up and
I do
down?
strips. I do
You do
strips.
strips.
To be honest, I don't even think about it that much. I just kind of like, hey, I'll do this part. Oh, this part looks easy. I'll do the easy part first. I'll do the easy part. I just kind of do it haphazardly. It doesn't have to look like a golf course. I mean, to be honest, I don't even. I feel like I should. I always have my mower on like the highest setting.
That's where you should have it.
You should have it at that, and so it
Yeah.
looks a little bit long, but it's like it's not supposed to look like a damn golf course, you know.
It's
And
better for the grass. And
I especially I like having like I like not cutting down all the wildflowers and stuff like that show up. It's
yeah,
nice.
dandelions, stuff like that.
You get bees and things. It's good for the bees.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely have some related events this weekend after you
Yeah.
tell your lawn
So yeah, I
story.
mean that was pretty much it. I had to get a new jerry can for gas because my wife did not bring my old jerry cans up from Louisiana, so I had to go get a new one. Damn federal government changed the nozzles again on the new jerry cans. So
Does
now
yours
they're
have those little locking mechanisms on them that you have to push down?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my old
Oh my
one had
god.
that too, but now it like comes with like a spigot on it, and then there's like a thing where you like have to push in a latch, and then it's like, and then there's like this plastic insert that goes inside the tank that like
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's a bitch
they
because you have to
say,
hold it down as you're pouring.
yeah, and they say it's designed to somehow this is all designed to prevent people when they're pouring gas out of the jerry can onto a fire to try to like start a fire or something.
Should
It's
never
like
do that.
it's to prevent somehow the flame from shooting up into the can and blowing you up. But to me, it seems like what it's designed for, that little plastic insert, is to make it so that it takes a really fucking long time to fill the can at the gas
Yeah,
station
and
because
hurt your damn thumb.
you can't put that pump on max because it'll overflow and spill everywhere. So you have to like sit there and hold it, and you can't even use the latch thing that you have at the gas station if you're going to a decent white gas station. If you're going to the Pajit gas station, then of course they're not going to have those. But you can't even use those. You have to sit there and like the most you can get is you hold it at about 75% of what the pump can do, and you have to just sit there and like maintain your grip on it. Oh, it's so aggravating. I'm feeling like a boomer. The only reason that I did not like tear all this crap off of this thing is because I'm gonna have a toddler running around here in a couple of years. And I was like, yeah, I guess I should leave the safety shit on this thing. I mean, Chicken is old enough now. I don't need to worry about her, but
Yeah,
uh,
there's the best child proofing is keeping it out of the reach of children.
well, that would be kind of difficult for me to do. I don't really have any place I could put it like up to get it
Get
away.
shelving.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'd have to do
They're
that.
like
Yeah.
$10 at Walmart.
Oh, believe me, I'm familiar because my wife loves shelves, so we are always going and buying tons of shelves.
Or you can get the good ones at like Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah, the metal ones.
No, well, they're plastic, but they're just big.
Yeah,
I think they were like $30 or something
the
like
white
that.
ones.
No, well, I think you can get white. We got black.
Yeah. Okay, I think I know the ones you're talking about. Those actually hold a good amount of weight. I just found them to be a little bit flimsy. I like the metal ones
They
better.
are. They are. But I mean, if you have it up against a wall, because we have it in our garage, that's where our laundry is and all that. It's up against the wall and our dryer. So I mean, it's not going anywhere. Nobody's bumping into it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I do know that like on Amazon they sell kits of like for boomers to like take all that crap off of your gas can. You just put a regular spigot and a regular nozzle on it or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, they have this sticker of like a guy in like a firefighter uh, kit on it, and I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. I'm
I
trying to
mean, you're
save
not
your
supposed to be throwing
lives.
fuel on fires from a gas can ever,
Yeah, I
ever.
mean,
Don't
especially
ever
like a
do that.
five, especially like a 5 gallon gas can. Like, who's gonna do that? Like, I could
Yeah.
see like one of the tiny ones. Okay,
No,
maybe.
not that. You need to have it in like you should be dousing whatever you need to douse beforehand.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is I'm like, if you already got the fire started, why are you dumping gasoline on it other than you're high on or drunk or something? And in which
No,
case,
I mean
you probably
gasoline
should
should
be set
never be dumped on a
on
fire for one.
you what?
Gasoline should never be dumped on a fire. It should be diesel for a fire.
Why is
If you
that?
want to blow yourself up, go ahead and use
Oh,
gasoline.
yeah.
Yeah, because go outside and try to light some wood on fire after you put gasoline on it. As soon as you throw that flame on it, you're gonna hear a sonic boom
Yeah.
from it igniting.
That's
The
awesome.
diesel
Come on.
doesn't
I'm not gonna
catch,
lie. When you hear that,
but diesel also burns hotter, so it's better to actually use that to burn.
oh, that's a good idea. So
I
there you
learned
go.
that from my redneck buddy because
Yeah.
I tried to burn all my new branches I just cut down, and I realized you can't burn branches you just cut, and or at least you can't burn them alone. You have to have like something that's burning hot enough to burn that.
Yeah.
Um, And also do not use gasoline.
Yeah, well, there you go, folks. I mean, who else but somebody but a Florida man would be an expert on starting a fire using accelerants like diesel or gasoline. So there you go.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
the
my
like,
dad's stereotypical Florida man.
yeah.
Everybody used to call him Tim the Toolman Taylor
Oh
because
no,
I mean, you ever watched Home
you would
Improvement?
grunt a lot.
Well, he used to because of the show, but everybody used to call him that because he used to fuck everything up. Like he would
Oh,
just want more power, you know.
oh, jeez. I mean,
But yeah,
but that was the thing. I was sitting there looking at this, and I was like, if the fire is already started, other than you being a drunk, high on meth Florida man, why would you dump more gas on it? Like, in which case, like,
watch
I'm
it go
sorry, you
boom.
gotta deserve what you get, you know?
We
Um,
used to fill up beer bottles with fuel and cap it and throw it in the bonfire and see how long it takes to explode.
oh, that's a cool idea.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Because you would hear it too, like it wouldn't immediately explode or nothing. It would just you hear like a hissing and then just kaboom. You know, a few shards of glass fly.
I was gonna say,
Never heard it.
doesn't that throw glass shrapnel everywhere around the bonfire?
Hey, I mean, we have to live up to the name of Florida man.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a reputation you have to live up to. It's not easy. I can understand that, man. But yeah, he's fucking. I know I sound like a boomer complaining about the gas cans, but like, there's a reason you go on Amazon and you can buy like from China, and of course it's like the World War II style, like you see on the back of the Sherman tank, like the just the steel gas can that just has the screw top that you can buy, and not subject to federal regulations, I guess. And so people will just buy those, or they have the kits, with the spouts and everything on them that you can get to replace the federally mandated ones. But anyway, so yeah, I did that. I did the mowing, and it's been a pretty good weekend. My mom was here because it was my daughter's dance recital. Man, the dance recital this year was so much better than the ones I've had to suffer through before. This one was like, they kept it to an hour. They had one costume they had to buy. It was not a big deal. Just ran through it. We got out of there. It was fine. Like, these, I've talked about them before in years past, these dance recitals where they would just be like, they would go on for 3 hours. Every kid would have three costumes. They had all these numbers that they would do. It was just ridiculous. The only side benefit was they had all ages pretty much. So, like, whenever your interest starts flagging and you're wondering uh, when this thing is going to be over, they're like, all right, well, here comes the 16-year-old girls out to do some dances. And I'll be like, okay, hello. All right. You have my attention.
Yeah, that's not awkward at all.
No, well, I have to admit, it is a little bit awkward because you're like, all right. And then you're like, wait, these girls are like 15. And then I'm like, you know what? It's dark. Nobody can see me. I'm just going to sit and enjoy. Like, there's nothing else I can do. I'm stuck here in this fucking scene. Like, I might as well just appreciate the art of the dance. What are you going to do? I like how this guy is like listening to our show and he's also watching like some other show at the same time. What is wrong with people? Have some focus. Podcast at the same time.
What are you talking about? The guy? Oh, you're talking about watching his Bitcoin explode.
Oh, yeah. I guess he's watching his Bitcoin. I thought for some reason I thought
Yeah,
he was talking about a podcast. You're right. He's watching his Bitcoin.
yeah. Wasn't it Bitcoin at like 4,000, something like
I
that?
don't know. I don't even keep track of it
88.
anymore. I used to. Sometimes I really think that should be my new project. Is I need to learn Bitcoin. Everybody keeps telling me I needed to do it. Of course, this was back when it was booming, and all these guys were like, "Oh, Jim, I'm making so much money off the Bitcoin, bro. You need to get on this train." And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of like fake money, and like, I don't trust it. I feel like as soon as this thing becomes a threat, they're going to shut it down. But
Yeah, for a while there, I mean, people were like accepting Bitcoin as payment, like
yeah,
like major corporations. So
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It might still
definitely,
be worth looking into. It's every time I've tried, everybody has their own method, and they're like, dude, it's super easy. Okay, what you need to do, and then it's like, it's just like, man, this is gonna take me all fucking weekend. Like, I don't. I'm a dad, man. I don't have all fuck because like I'll start doing it, and then my wife will be like from across the hall or across the house, be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "All right," and then I gotta go. Like, all right, what's the problem? What's going on? And be like, it'll be something I gotta fix the toilet, or and then the kid is running around, and then something else happens, and then you forgot we had a birthday party, and I'm like, all right, we gotta go to the birthday party. You know what I mean? It's like, how the fuck am I supposed to learn Bitcoin? Because I don't have all weekend to just sit in a dark room listening to like EDM and like like I can't do it anymore.
yeah, I never got into crypto. I just like if I
It
want to
seems
throw my
cool.
money away, I got better things I can do with it.
It seems cool, especially because the guy who owns it, like, or who invented it, like nobody knows anything about him. It's supposedly some Japanese guy, but nobody's sure if he ever actually existed or not. He just like he's like, "Hi, I'm Satoshi, here Bitcoin," and like, but nobody knows if he actually exists. I think it was probably the CIA, to be honest, that invented Bitcoin. But then again, like Bitcoin's actually successful. The CIA just can't do anything right. So,
Yeah, they couldn't even pull off a KKK rally this weekend, right?
oh, there was one of those going on.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that was good. There was like I think there was like 20 people in this KKK rally and like 300 protesters,
Or
Antifa, you name it.
yeah,
And I saw one of them got interviewed and was disappointed that they didn't show up in white hoods.
they didn't.
No, the
Man,
KKK doesn't really do that
if you're,
anymore.
oh come on, what is this like? Oh yeah, we're that the KKK is doing the optics bit now. Are you shitting me?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
like,
I
like,
don't
come
understand.
on, motherfucker, you're the KKK. All right, just put on the fucking hood and the robe and just do the bit. All right, because you're not impressing anybody about like, hey, the Ku Klux Klan, these guys are really making sense. Like, no, I'm sorry, it's just not.
Nobody got red pilled from the KKK in the past 30 years.
No, so I'm sorry, man. I look, I have some small bit of sympathy, but at the same time, it's just like, come on. Drunk Pelosi says, and he was trolling before, but now I'll actually pay attention because I think he's right. If I remember reading the history of Bitcoin, he says that Satoshi was his pseudonym based on the times that Satoshi was posting and committing software. He was somewhere in Western Europe. Okay, so that's a kind of another point to it being the CIA then. Well, I don't know. Like I said, the CIA never does anything right. So, um, oh no, the Klan isn't anti-Catholic anymore, as far as I understand. They used to be though. That was Klan 2.0. Klan 3.0 is basically David Duke, as far as I can tell, from what I know about them. They still don't they're okay with Catholics. As long as you're Christian, they're happy. I could be wrong, but my mother claims that the Klan burned a cross on their lawn one time because they were Catholic, her family. And I was like, I mean, I didn't want to be like, I severely doubt that, Mom, but
That Spencer meme, I highly doubt that.
yeah, I don't know. But I'm not going to tell that to my mother, so I'll just be like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. I feel like maybe my granddad, like, accidentally, he was like trying to burn out a stump, and then they had to make and then accidentally set part of the yard on fire, and they had to make up a story.
No, honey, it was the Klan. It was the
The
Klan.
Klan burned a cross on our lawn because we're Catholic. I don't know, just my theory on it, because I was like, nah. Somebody has their cell phone a little too close to their microphone, and I think that's not me.
Wait, what?
I think you have your cell phone a little too close to your microphone. When you hear that, that's the cell phone.
Is that?
That's what that is your cell phone. Your microphone is picking up your cell phone's 3G radio. And
Oh,
yeah,
wait.
I will turn off data on my phone just to be sure.
Is that better? I
I
do
don't,
know. I don't notice it on stream, but I
this is
do
the first
notice
time
it.
I've heard it happen.
I notice it after stream. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I keep myself right next to the keyboard, so that might have been it.
yeah,
I meant to ask you about that because it just always slips my mind when we do the show. But yeah, I do notice it whenever I listen. I do listen back to some of the show just to
yeah.
make sure things are right. But
Now,
yeah, I
drunk.
moved my phone, so I don't know if you can hear it anymore.
You're what?
I said I moved my phone, so I don't know if you can hear it anymore.
No, I can't hear it now. It only comes through periodically because that's when it's contacting the tower. Basically,
Okay.
when you get that,
Yeah,
it
and
only
it,
does
it's
that every now and again.
uniform time when I hear it.
Yeah. Drunk Pelosi is saying that the Klan robes come from the Spanish penitential outfits worn on Good Friday. That's the capirote. Those are those infamous pictures that you'll often see people posting. Uh, I don't know if that's true. I know that they are remarkably similar, and so maybe that was the inspiration. But considering that the
Oh
original
my
Klan,
god,
the Klan
just like
2.0 was anti-Catholic, I don't know. That seems. I mean, maybe it was just a coincidence. Um, that they look so similar. Because if the guy hates Catholics, why is he going to copy their outfit? Especially some obscure Spanish penitential sect. Like I don't know. It is funny to show pictures of that to people and be like, check out the
yeah.
Klan, the Klan's rallying, and people freaking out, like whoa. And that's in Europe, man. The Klan's gone to Europe now.
Like multicultural clan.
Yeah, it trigger
Blue.
you just trigger libs with that because they're so ignorant. Um. Anyway, so boy, I'm far afield from where I was. What was I talking? I was talking about the lawn dance recital. That was a good time. Yeah, it's been pretty good. Went out to dinner with my mom. Went out to brunch with my mom. That kind of thing. Um, it's nice. She came to visit and then she left. So that was good. One great thing about having my mother come to visit is the house gets cleaned. I love it. I love having my mother come to visit because it's like as soon as my mother is coming, all of a sudden, real priority to get all that crap off the couch and vacuum the carpet and all of that. So it's nice. My house is clean for as long as that lasts. I got to try to figure out a way to have an excuse for my mom to come up and visit, like say maybe every 3 to 4 months. I think should about do it.
That's a bit of a drive there.
Well, she flew.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
she got on a plane, only about an hour from Atlanta to Pennsylvania, so that was good. Um, and she's a boomer, so she can afford it. Yeah, that was good. It's been an okay weekend. I don't know how, but what were you wanting to talk about, Hook? I think you had some lawn stuff going on over there.
Oh yeah, I like last week. I don't know if I mentioned pest control last week.
A little bit. I seem to recall talking about that. Yeah.
Well, I've been using that Nextdoor app. I basically
Oh
use
yeah.
it as suggestions for stuff. If I'm trying to sell stuff or whatever, or give away stuff, I'll put it on there. But I asked for suggestions on pesticides, or not necessarily pesticides, but just any recommendations for home pest control.
Uh-huh.
And tons of people, shilling different companies that they have, which
Yeah.
I don't care to. I didn't want to hire anybody, honestly.
No,
I
dude, I'm
figured
talking about like, do I get like vinegar and mix it with baking soda or dish detergent? Like that's what I'm asking about, okay? I don't want to go with Ray Bob's Pest Control Service since 1982.
yeah, I mean, that was the majority of the replies. Then I got one 70-year-old man that did pest control for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the one. He wrote this long effort post about pest control, and I was like, oh, I ate that effort post up. I loved it.
Two-word board diesel fuel.
But I mean, he was saying, it's a scam. Don't hire people to do it. Do it yourself. He said he used I used. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's called like do it yourself or something like that .com, and you can buy commercial grade insecticides.
Nice.
So I got two different kinds. I got like one that kills early stages of the bugs. So like I mean, it lists off like hundreds of different types of bugs. It's of course safe for plants and pets as long as it's dry. Um, but
Would it be doityourselfpestcontrol.com?
yeah, it's something like that. I got to look it up. He gave me the link, but I think I definitely would suggest it to other people because it gives you all the stuff that the Orkin man uses and stuff like that.
Oh, this looks like
But
they got the real shit, man. Let's see. Here's some rodenticide.
yeah, yeah. If I
And
can tell you exactly what I got, but I got two different kinds. One kills early stages,
mhm.
and the other one is just like the annihilator. It's like the stuff that's going to kill them right away. So they said you can mix them. So that's what I did. I mixed them and got one of those backpacks over at Harbor Freight with the pump on them.
Uh-huh.
Now I got a little bit to say about those backpack pumps. They are not that user friendly, not those cheap ones, at
Yeah.
least. When you get the thing, make sure you read everything on the thing because I didn't fully read everything. The attachments aren't get like unscrewed whenever it ships.
Mhm.
So make sure you check everything on the damn thing and make sure it's tightened because you don't want to
Mhm.
get something in there and have it leak out on you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because
Always
most of the
use
stuff, like
gloves.
especially the stuff that you use for insects, is basically neurotoxin. So like if you can basically gas yourself like with sarin gas type shit if you're not careful.
Yeah. The website is called Do My Own.
Do my own. Okay.
DoMyOwn.com. What I got was some stuff called Nigard, IGR, and
Wait a minute now. Hey, we don't do that on the show anymore. Use the correct terminology.
Schwuggy. Schwuggy.
I got some Tempered FX insecticide. So like one's like a
Oh yeah. Do
yellowish
my
tint, and
own
the other
pest
one's like
control
fucking
subscription
crimson.
program.
But yeah, but this stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculously expensive. It is about each one of them's about 4 ounces, a little over 4 ounces in the whole bottle. And for both of them, it was $100. It comes with a little. You basically squeeze the bottle into a little measuring part that's on the bottle,
Uh-huh.
and you have to pour it by milliliters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
like
know those
you'll
things. Like they use them
4, 8,
for
16.
they use them for other things. Like if you need to mix like oil and gas together for like a two-stroke
Yeah.
motor, that's pretty
Hmm.
convenient. Where you just squeeze it and it just shoots up into that little other part of the bottle, and then it just pours out from there. That's very handy.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't take much of this stuff, like because I mixed them, so I did half and half. I did 8 milliliters of one and eight of the other. Um, and you can barely tell I used any out of it, and I did my house 4 times over.
Nice. What were
So
you spraying for again? Termites?
everything I could. We
Everything.
saw a freaking roach one day, and we were like, well, it's summertime. We might as well figure out if what we're gonna do for our pest control problem, because we're
Yeah.
gonna have one near woods, and we're gonna get spiders and all that kind of stuff. We need to
You know, most guys
spray.
would just get the can that you carry, not the backpack. That's like seriously professional grade. Like that's almost overkill, I would think.
Yeah, but it's not. Well, no, because that stuff that you're gonna buy in the can is one-time use. It has no lasting effect. This
Mm.
stuff has lasting effect. It's going to be 6 months. That it's gonna work.
Well, I know, but I
I don't
mean,
want.
like, you're talking about you have the backpack that you use where that it sprays out of the tank that you wear on your back, right?
Yeah,
Most people would just get the little can that you carry
yeah, but
around.
you don't want to carry that thing around your whole yard. You would much rather
Well,
have it on your back walking around.
I guess, but
Unless you look like a badass.
those things have got to be expensive though, the backpack.
No, they're like $30.
Really?
Harbor Freight, $30. Yep.
Huh. Well, I guess
They are very inexpensive.
they shouldn't be expensive, but you just assume it will be. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure you can probably get expensive ones, but they don't really sell expensive stuff at Harbor Freight.
oh, and there's some retail me not codes for this website. That's nice. I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I definitely suggest it. I don't know about Harbor Freight, but you know if you're gonna do, I would do home pest control. Well, I don't even want to say that because I want to see how this pans out first. How
Mm,
well
good point.
it actually repels the bugs. But I will say that this is what I did, and if anybody else wants to try it and we can kind of compare notes of how they did it and stuff, that would be great. Because
Well,
I want to be able to do everything myself. So
considering that like seems like just about any good old boy will have the idea of doing this as a business and like will go out there and you know what I mean? Like how hard can it really be? I think the only thing you got to be careful about is you got to be sure to respect the chemicals and follow the safety instructions. Wear your
oh yeah,
PPE, wear your protective equipment, gloves, goggles,
yeah. I
maybe even a
didn't actually.
respirator.
I wore glasses, or the goggles. I bought goggles
Yeah,
at Harbor Freight. I got some heavy duty plastic or nylon gloves or whatever.
yeah.
Um, one thing I didn't do was wear long sleeves. In
Oh,
which, if there's any part of your body that's going to get
just wearing,
residual spray,
you're spraying all this shit, and you're wearing the gloves, and they go up to like your forearm or your elbow, and then meanwhile you're just doing it in like the wife beater T-shirt and smoking a cigarette, and just being like, "Honey, I'm spraying for cockroaches. Hang on just a minute," like blowing back in your face.
oh, it wasn't even, those gloves only came up to my wrists. I mean, they're
Oh,
like medical gloves,
ah, whew,
But
I'm
yeah,
getting
my
feeling it's
forearms
suddenly
were
getting
itching.
cold here, man. Whew, I'm getting the shakes.
Yeah, as soon as I got done, I was like, I probably should have wore a long sleeve. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
95 degrees outside. I'm like, I don't want to wear long sleeves. I'm already wearing jeans.
You're gonna have the fucking CIA at your house filming a video and saying it was Assad. Assad's gassing Florida. Look at this guy foaming at the mouth. Get the white helmets over here.
But yeah,
Um,
but the Harbor Freight backpack thing, like I couldn't figure out how to get one of the straps hooked on. So I just had to like jerry rig it. Like it probably wasn't supposed to go on that way, but it ended up working for me. But yeah, I mean, it really doesn't take much of this insecticide to cover your entire house. I did the entire outside like 3 times over, and then I did the inside of my house, which I didn't. I mainly did the living room and um, the kitchen dining room area.
Yeah.
Those are the high traffic areas. Those are the biggest. Those are the biggest entry points in the house. And I read up a little bit on where you need to spray. I mean, it was stuff I already knew, really. Anywhere where there's food, and anywhere where there's a door.
Yeah.
I got a big sliding glass door in my backyard, and I just sprayed that whole freaking door down. So once they said, once it dries, you're fine. It's not going to harm you, as long as you're not licking it. But yeah, once it's wet, you don't want to touch it. You want to stay away from it while it's wet. But once it dries, you're good. And when it dries, once the bug walks over it, it starts to affect the bug. And I did already notice in my garage there was an upside down cockroach, he was still alive and kicking and everything, but he was upside down, and cockroaches don't just go upside down for no reason.
Mm.
I did find a big spider in my living room today, so I wonder if he maybe he had a little hiding spot where I sprayed, and he just kind
Maybe.
of popped out. Scared the shit out of my wife. She's sitting on the couch. I'm sitting on our love seat, and I'm like, "Oh shit, look above you." And she just immediately gets up and hands me a shoe.
Yeah, see, you never tell your wife when you see a giant spider. Because they're harmless. That's probably a wolf spider. They go and they eat other insects.
It was a wolf spider, actually.
You don't do that. Be like, hey, honey, look at that giant spider up there. Well, that's a big one. Now you're gonna have to kill it. Good job. That was free pest control right there.
No, I was gonna kill it anyways. I don't. They're not gonna be in my house. I don't like spiders, but I'm not afraid to go kill it.
You'd rather spray chemicals all over your house then. Okay.
Exactly. I would rather put my family at risk than have to look at a spider.
I remember when I don't do what I did, but I used to live with my wife before we got married, and I would come home from work and I would keep finding these like cups and glasses on the floor. And I didn't understand it. I was like, what is this shit? And I would pick them up and put it back in the cabinet, Because what she was doing was she would see like a spider on the floor. And I think I've told this story before, but it was probably a long time ago. And then she would see like a spider on the floor, so she would grab like a cup and put the cup over it to trap it, with the idea being that like I would get home and then remove the cup, and stomp on the spider right away so it couldn't escape. And I never even noticed. I mean, then one time I noticed, I was like, there's like a spider under here. And I was like, all right, be free. Go kill it. Kill flies and mosquitoes for me. Oh, man. I had cobwebs like in the corners of my ceilings and stuff like that, which I was like, that's by design. That's an insect trap right there. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't mind them like outside my house. I'm like, whatever. I have one that likes to build a big web that goes down from my ceiling to my front walkway, like the concrete. So it'll be like a net over my walkway.
Is it
You know, I
kind of like a sort of a circular pattern?
No, it's more of like up and down. Like it's I
Okay.
don't know, because I mean
Have you ever
this thing
seen
built
Have
it
you ever seen
at
the
night.
spider that made that web?
Yeah, it's not a banana spider. Definitely not a
No.
banana spider.
Okay.
It's a smaller spider.
Okay.
But it builds
Probably
it at night,
some,
and it's taken down by the morning.
yeah. It's probably some kind of an orb weaver. Um, those can bite and they give you kind of a nasty sting. So I don't know, but they're great. They'll catch all kind of things. You just have to
Oh yeah,
respect the web there.
I'm not out there at night, so whatever. If it's gone by the morning, I'm not going to mess with it. Go find your hiding spot, in the morning. I mean, it literally takes down that whole web. It doesn't just leave it there. It takes the whole thing down.
Yeah. I don't know if they take it down or it gets blown down. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it does just
No,
takes the whole thing
there's
down.
no way to take it down. I mean, this thing takes down the web every night because
Maybe it
I'll
just
see it at night.
dissolves.
I mean,
I
that
don't
could
know.
be it too. that could be it too. I don't know, but I know it's gone by the morning, and I don't even see any like, because sometimes you'll see like on the concrete, you'll see like a glimmer of where the webbing was. I don't even see that, but
Hmm.
I do know that there are spiders that do that they will build their nest at night or their webbing at night, and they will take it down by the time the sun comes up.
Huh.
I don't know
Interesting.
what that is. Um, Maybe it's kind of like you don't know I'm here because
Yeah,
it's only
maybe.
at
I mean, that could be it. I'm not sure. It kind of makes sense from that perspective, but I'm not. I don't
I would
know.
imagine birds probably go eat them too, so that might be it too, because birds aren't flying
Uh,
around it.
yeah, yeah. Um, Man, I tell you what, some of those orb weaver spiders, they look vicious, man. Like, I'm blaming people for being a little creeped out by them because,
Yeah, I do not like spiders at all. I don't have like, I hate the real word of phobia, but I don't like spiders. I don't like the way they look. They do creep me out, but I'm not
even with my
irrational.
reactionality about them, I still find them. I mean, you can't. There's no denying it. They look a little creepy. I mean, they
Yeah,
got the
and
long
there's no way, I
legs.
don't care how nice your pet spider is. I'm not fucking touching it.
Come on, why don't you touch Amanda the spider? She's friendly. My pet tarantula, Amanda. Yeah,
Yeah, why are we
yeah,
gonna talk about spider guys instead of horse girls?
yeah. Well, there's like the
Terrarium
spider
and shit.
guys. They're usually like a subset of they're just like the exotic animal guys in general. That's like what autistic guys used to do before the internet is they would get into exotic animals like
Yeah,
spiders and snakes and stuff.
I don't mind a
And
snake. I don't mind a snake because they're actually cool to
yeah,
watch them and stuff. I mean, they are kind of soothing, or like a pet iguana or something like that.
yeah. I don't get the reptile ownership to be honest because like they just kind of sit there. Like people will have these like pet iguanas and it just sort of like sits on its hot rock all the time and it just never moves.
Yeah,
And I'm just sort of like, okay. And they're like, oh, well, it's more interesting when it eats. And I'd be like, well, can you feed it now? Well, no, I only feed it like once a month because, it has
yeah,
really slow metabolism. So, like, maybe come around like in 2 weeks and you can see it eat a mouse. I'm like, yeah, okay. So, yeah, I don't get it myself. I used to have turtles for a while, actually. I thought they were more interesting. But then, like, you feel a little bad because you put them in like the terrarium or whatever and then they have like one section of it that's like land and then another section where they can go swimming and then it's like all they did all day long is just like swim up against the glass just over and over again like they're just trying to get out and I'm just like
yeah,
and just chill out, man, you're not going anywhere, just I don't know, like accept your situation. I don't know, like just it's just like this is why people own dogs.
yeah. That's actually my wife is trying to get me to get a dog right now, and I'm pushing back on it because I'm just like, it's just another thing to worry about. And I like dogs. And honestly, I've never had a dog of my own. They've always been like my mother's dog, and
Yeah.
it was never actually my dog. Somebody would get it for my mom, or my sister got a dog, or I never had one of my own. My wife, we had a German Shepherd, and she had that dog since it was born. And actually, she had her mother also. So she was just one of the litter.
Mm.
And she passed away. I think I talked about it on the show. We put her down last year.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Actually, was it last year or early this year? Might have been early this year. But yeah, we put her down because she was like 13 or 14 years old, German Shepherd. She was old, could barely get up anymore. So,
That's pretty old for one of those dogs.
oh yeah, yeah, she was having the hip issues that German Shepherds usually have. And she had a neurological issue also. Um, so she actually took it like, my wife's tough. I was gonna take the dog myself, but she was like, "No, I'm gonna take her." I was like, "Can I go with you?" She's like, "No, I'm gonna take her alone." It's like, okay. And she said she took her and she took the SUV down to the SPCA and gave her a pack of hot dogs and brought her
Huh.
in and put her down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, she's ready to get a new dog, so I
Oh,
mean,
jeez.
and I'm just kind of like, well, let's wait till we get a fence put up because I really don't want to have to be walking the dog. I want to
Yeah.
just let the dog out to go to the bathroom, and she just keeps sending me pictures of dogs, and I'm
Jeez.
gonna cave eventually.
I'm glad that my wife is still mad about the dog. She's like, once this dog is gone, we're not getting any more dogs. Maybe not even ever. And I'm like, yeah, good, because I'm tired of this stupid fucking dog too. But you know what? What'll probably happen is the same thing where like the dog's gonna die, and then it's gonna be like 2 weeks, and she's gonna be like, I miss my doggy. I want a new doggy. And I'm like, we're gonna end up getting another fucking dog.
Yeah,
You know.
there's worse things in life, but whatever.
And then later she'll be complaining about it pissing on things all the time in the house. I know it. Back to
Yeah,
doing the thing.
pretty much that's how it works.
Yeah.
But I did do some other stuff around the house this weekend. I mean, I seems like every week I have something new as far as some kind of home improvement.
Yeah.
Remember when I was
Welcome to
talking
owning a
about
house. That's pretty much how it goes. Yeah.
the drip in my bathroom and the bathtub
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
spigot? Well, it came back with a vengeance and taunting me every day whenever I would take a piss and look at that and drip, 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 drip. And I even looked at my water bill, and it didn't affect my water bill at all. My water bill is pretty low, so it's not even that I'm worried about. I'm just like, I cannot stand that there's something in this house I can't do something about. That
Mm,
seems like something so simple.
yeah.
So I use that same app again. I use that Nextdoor app, and I was like, hey, does anybody have any suggestions of what I should do next? I did this.
This
I
is pretty
replaced.
amazing to me because you are like the only person I've ever heard of who uses Nextdoor for anything but warning everybody about seeing black people in their neighborhood.
There's that on there too.
Oh.
Well, I just figured it's a good way. I mean, because people are like offering to come over and help me,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. But just give me the advice that you have, and I'll take it from there. But the guy was just like, go get you some new cartridges. I had the same problem, so went to Lowe's, found the same. I brought the cartridge out. I turned the water off at the house, got the cartridge
Cartridge.
out, took
Oh,
it
you
up
mean
there.
like you're in the aerator?
Yeah, like the thing
Yeah.
that turns, that it turns and you know depresses down the seat that's on top of the spring.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just went and bought two new ones of those, replaced them, bought two new handles just because I was like, might as well just get two new handles. So I got some new ones. Um, and I bought a new uh, spigot, whatever the hell it's called. Um, I replaced
So
all that, and
you basically just completely replaced the entire faucet piece by piece instead of just
well,
buying a
not
new
not
assembly.
exactly because when you replace the entire thing, you have to replace all the piping too because each company has their own specific piping setup. So it's actually behind the wall of all the plumbing that
Mm,
goes behind it. So I had to buy it piece by piece, finding the
are
right
you
one, which mine was a
mm,
Delta.
I don't think usually with the faucets, all it is like usually it'll be like either a stainless steel or in more recent setups, it'll be like some flexible PEX pipe that comes from the water supply up to the sink itself and then goes into um, the sink, and then you just hook the faucet up to those. I don't know about this like specific piping situation.
Well, I'm not talking about a sink. Talking about my tub.
Oh, I don't know. For some reason, I thought you were talking. I just assumed you were talking about your sink, and I missed that you were talking about your tub. But yeah, that the tub does make it more complicated.
Yeah. So, because I mean, you have four on mine. It's four outlets from the wall, basically. So you have your spigot, you have your hot and cold, and then you got your diverter for the shower. Now, I didn't touch the diverter because that's probably not giving me my problems because that has nothing to do with, the actual flow of water as far as from coming from the source. It's just diverting the flow of the water from the spigot to the shower. So I just changed out the two cartridges. And I actually think I didn't have to do that. What I think I needed, I don't think I set one of the seats in correctly because it was kind of crooked whenever I took the cartridge out to take it up to Lowe's. But I straightened it out and I was like, whatever, I'm just going to buy new cartridges so I don't have to take this damn thing apart again. So, yeah, I replaced it all, got it all set up, and I am now about 33 hours without a drip. So, hopefully that stays that way. Did we lose you, Jim?
Hello?
There we
Oh,
go.
okay. I had you guys on mute. I unmuted myself. I don't know why it didn't come back right away. I didn't hear myself, but yeah. Chicken just came down here, so I'm trying to deal with
Oh,
something.
all good. But yeah, I got that taken care of. And while I was at Lowe's, I went ahead. I have a problem with the I have a problem with the flapper on one of my toilets
All right.
where like you have to hold down the flusher or whatever.
Oh yeah, you got to jiggle the handle.
Well,
Or
you're not even jiggling. You
equivalent.
just have to hold it down because the flapper won't stay up once you flush it. You
Oh
just
yeah,
hold
yeah.
it down. I have no idea how the logistics of these flappers work because there's nothing keeping that thing up. Like even in my other toilet that works fine. Like I don't see any difference.
Usually on that, it's just, as far as I can tell, basically the idea behind how it works is that like it flaps up, and then because it's rubber, it kind of just tends to stay up, and then gradually as the water sucks down through that drain hole, that pulls that flapper back down to close over it. So if it's closing too quickly, um,
Like
usually,
immediately.
yeah, then you gotta like adjust the chain on that. It could be too long or too short. I'm trying to remember, but you usually just gotta adjust the length of the chain on that.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say I'm gonna say probably it's too short.
Yeah. I mean I have it set really short, like it gives it about a half inch of a slack when you let it go.
Yeah, see, I think that might be the problem. I think it's too short. I could be wrong. You just need to play with it and see what works.
But yeah, I ended up buying a whole new kit that comes with a new floater and flapper. And, I took everything apart. I was like, yeah, I'm doing a good job here. I got everything, got the floater hooked all up. Go to put the flapper on and it doesn't fit. And I'm like, damn it, I bought this kit and I can't even use the damn flapper in it. And I can't just take this thing back. I've already installed it, so now I just have like a flapper I can never use.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You may end up having a toilet that needs it and you can use it on. It's not like it goes bad or anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, or I could probably actually use that app to sell it and be like, $5. Who wants it?
Trade
Gotta
you
get that
some.
money back.
I'll trade you some meth for it. I don't have any money, but I got drugs.
We got plenty of pesticides.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, the toilet. It's such a simple device, uh, but then little things go wrong with it. So.
It is. It's very simple. Like I've never tried to replace anything on a toilet before,
Yeah.
and when we bought this house, I went and got brand new toilet covers or whatever, the seats. Um, and I installed those, which were very simple. They're like
Yeah.
nothing to. And I
You got,
suggest that if you
you
got
got
some
new toilet
stained up
seats.
or something, get them.
You got new toilet seats for your. Ah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Why not? Why is that weird?
Because you can't catch anything from a toilet seat, man. Like
No, it's not even
something
that.
your
They
wife
look.
wanted you to do.
They
Oh, they
had.
look bad.
Yeah, like women will like dye their hair,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go sit on the toilet or something, and it drips down on the seat, and there's stains
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah,
it. One of them, you know how they have the I don't know, the little stopper things on the seat. There's like two of them on the fronts of the seats.
yeah, yeah,
One of them was busted out.
yeah. That always happens. Yeah.
So I just was like, new house, I want to be the first to, plop my butt on some
Ah,
new seats.
oh,
And I got the no slam ones. So they take like a year to fully go down. It's
oh,
like
that's not a
impossible.
bad idea. My wife loves to slam the toilet seat.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, how much do you hate that shit? I mean,
Oh,
especially
I
being
know.
or a woman. I mean, the toilet seats go up and down, and you just clam, slam, slam. And that's probably why one of those things was busted on the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. Because God
But yeah,
forbid
these
you just
go down
reach
very
the.
slowly. You have to push it down.
Yeah. See, now I could see that driving women crazy because like they go to put it down and they have to sit there and wait for the toilet seat to go all the way down.
No, you just sit on it while it's
Oh,
going down. You
oh,
know,
okay.
kind of gives you like a. It's definitely not like a air compression, but
Yeah.
it's got some sort of thing in there. I don't have no some kind of spring, I'm sure, that keeps it from slamming. But definitely suggest them. And as soon as you put it on there, it looks like you got a brand new toilet.
It is true. It is true. If you have a crappy toilet seat and you replace it, it does really, you know, make it look like it's brand new. Um, Surprised you didn't get one of the ones that lights up.
I was thinking about it. My buddy had one. I thought they were cool. It was just like they were like an extra like $15.
Oh, they're that cheap now. They used to be much more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, shit, they probably have ones that have apps on them to tell you, what's in your shit. But
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, the Japanese love those. Those are very expensive though. Those
but yeah,
usually
these were like
the
30 bucks a
bidet,
piece.
you're looking at like $1,000 for one of those bidets. It'll test like your blood sugar by taking a sample of your stool and or your urine, and like, it's crazy.
I could
But
actually
yeah.
use that because I have kidney stones and I
Oh,
could test because I have too much calcium in my urine. I could actually test for that.
I'm not. Well, don't quote me on that, but I think they might have something like that with those. I don't know. I mean,
I'm
I don't
sure
know.
they
You
do.
might be
I'm sure
able
it's
to
probably.
get insurance to pay for that. I don't know.
I didn't think about that.
And they're not that hard to install. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
no, I have just the basic model bidet on both of my toilets. Very easy.
You just have like a little diverter that hooks up to the water line.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's like a little T junction, and you hook that up to where the water would normally you know water would normally go into your toilet, and then you hook up your water supply to that, and then it has a little hose that comes out and goes to the bidet, and that's it. The biggest bitch of it is making sure that your connections are all tight. You
Yeah.
definitely use some pipe tape on that. It'll tell you that
Yeah.
you don't. It'll tell you you don't need to, but put some pipe tape on there. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and this stuff's so cheap. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. Like there's no
and if
reason.
you ever buy anything for plumbing, they usually give you one of those things with it.
Exactly.
I actually got one. I got a new mic stand, and they gave me some pipe tape on there, which is kind of strange. I guess because
Huh.
it said the reason that I had the pipe tape was because the what is it, the Yeti? or the Snowball. I can't remember which one it was,
Oh
but
no, yeah,
it
the
didn't quite
snowball
fit
is a
the fitting.
model of Yeti.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the fitting on this doesn't fit that exactly, but if you use the tape, it'll fit. But yeah, but I ended up buying a whole pack of those whenever I was at Lowe's the first time I was doing my bathroom stuff, and it was like $5 for like 10 rolls of this stuff, and
Dude,
I
10
got that.
rolls, you're gonna be passing that down to your grandchildren.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'll never have to buy it again. I might as well get it. And I got some. I don't even know what it's used for, but I got plumber's putty.
Mm, plumber's putty is basically the same thing. It's used for the same purpose.
Okay.
Um, it's just it's more old school, and I guess I'm not a plumber, so maybe there's reasons why you'd want to use the putty versus just using pipe tape.
I was actually thinking of using the putty on one of the cartridges because whenever I replaced the hot water cartridge, it didn't fit like snugly in there. It had a little bit of wiggle room on it. Um, Now it hasn't, I don't see a leak or anything like that, or I don't hear any water hissing through, anything like that. But I was thinking about throwing some putty in there just to tighten it up a little bit, but I don't
Mm.
know. I probably won't because I don't want to take it
No,
apart.
the thing about the putty or the pipe dope, as sometimes guys will call it, that stuff a little goes a long way, and you can overdo it. And if you use too much, it will screw things up. So like the tape is safer because like that's pretty impossible to use. I mean, I don't want to say impossible, but like if you're just using what you consider to be a normal amount of the tape, like you don't have to worry about being careful about not putting too much on. Whereas the putty or the dope or whatever that you're spreading on there, like it takes a little bit of know-how to know how much you need to put on there and how much is too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been, every
It
time I go
mostly
to
that stuff
Walmart
is
for my
just for
sister,
threading is really all you need to use it for is you know just in my understanding. Mm. Sorry. Oh man, I don't know what the fuck is going on upstairs. Like I keep hearing all this noise, like banging and stuff falling over. Just
I've had my son was playing with the neighbor kids today.
oh
He's
yeah,
yeah, I mean it was a really hot day. So we decided to go out there and put the little inflatable pool for him out there. The neighbor kids came over and played with him, and it's really strange because we've never had like neighbor friends for him to play with,
mm.
and seeing how he acts and sharing and stuff like that is kind of weird. He'll act like a little baby about stuff, about sharing stuff, and I'll have to go get on
Yeah,
to him about acting like a baby. And you
it's
know,
only child problems for sure.
if you don't share, you're going inside, and you get a reaction from that, and
Yeah,
just all the I would imagine that's normal stuff for a kid. Um, but there is something that I am concerned about that has happened multiple times now, that I don't know if you've had any experience with this or have heard this from a question from a fan, but child nudity. You're,
ah, ah.
he This
Yeah.
is now the second time he has dropped trowel in front of the neighbor's kids.
How old is he again?
He's 4.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the first
yeah,
time, he wasn't in a bathing suit or nothing. We were outside. I was out in the driveway, and they were riding bikes, and all of a sudden he drops his pants and starts pissing in the yard.
yeah, yeah.
Which we let him do that like one time when we were at my sister's house, and they
Ah,
were doing
ah.
some outside pool thing, and I was like, all right, you can go piss in the yard. we're not, so you don't have to run all the way inside and get water everywhere. I
One
was like,
time is all it takes. Now, as far as
yeah.
he's concerned, he's allowed to do it.
And man, when he dropped it and just started pissing, I'm like, what are you doing, boy? There's like a 10-year-old girl and, the 5-year-old neighbor boy out there. They're just staring at him. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're already going to think we're freaks or something. But yeah, today
No, that's this kind of thing is pretty typical for. I know that Chicken was big into running around naked constantly when she was younger.
that was what my wife was saying that we need to correct is letting him run around the house naked. And that could prevent that from happening
Mm,
in the future.
no, well, these are two separate behaviors for one thing. Um,
Yeah.
like the running around naked is something that little kids are just gonna do, and like I guess you could. I feel like you'll give them a complex if you're constantly getting on them about it. Um, we basically drew the line at she had to be at least wearing panties if she went outside. And after that, it was like just whatever. Because it was just so impossible to keep the clothes on the child. They just want to be naked. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sort of
Yeah.
like a
I've been
state of
trying.
nature kind of thing. And then as far as the going to the bathroom in front of other people, that's a separate behavior. And that, I mean, you can correct it, but it's going to be something that you're just going to need to keep working on. And then eventually, as they get older, they'll start to have more of a. It's because when they're younger, they don't really have a strong sense of self.
Yeah. No shame. I mean, is it
Yeah.
is it a good thing to try to shame your child?
Mm, I I didn't do it that way. We didn't do it that way. It's not about shame. It's more just you just tell them that we don't do that.
Yeah. Because I keep trying to tell them, I'm like, nobody sees your wee wee, but maybe mommy and daddy when we, have to change you or, you're going
Yeah.
potty or you're bathing.
Yeah.
Nobody's, especially somebody that's not your family. Nobody else sees the wee wee. You know,
Well,
just us.
see, that's the thing is when you put it like that, I don't think that's the way to do it because he's just like, well, I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, he makes
So
it. He makes a joke out of it too. Whenever I talk to him,
yeah, yeah.
like he
Like
said
he
the
just
most ridiculous shit to me today that I don't even want to repeat because it was just ridiculous. Because kids just say ridiculous shit.
yeah, they really no, yeah, it has to be like I said, that's the wrong way to frame it. You don't need to frame it as like a molesting thing. It's more just like we don't do that. That's not what we do. And it's gonna take it's gonna keep happening. You're just gonna have to keep hammering away at it and just but don't make a big deal out of it or give the kid a complex over it or anything like that. Like it's just this is gonna happen. I would imagine, especially with little boys, it's a lot easier for them to just whip it out, like
Yeah,
so like um all you can do is just keep working on it. And like, if people want to get uptight about it, that's their problem, as far as I'm concerned. Because like, if you have kids, you know that they do crazy shit like this. And so most people that have also either had young kids before or currently have young kids will should be understanding about it.
yeah,
I mean, there's
yeah.
very few
I
behaviors that I would not put up with from other people's young children, and that would be things like them biting my child, or things like that. But other than that, it's like, oh, how embarrassing, haha, it's funny, it's like just
yeah,
shit
that's
happens.
that's another thing that I've had to kind of get used to is you know kind of parenting other kids that end up coming like because sometimes they'll just run into the house, you know, and I'll be like,
Yeah,
oh, are you supposed to be in my house? I don't want your parents to come over here flipping out because you're in my house. They can't find you. Make
yeah,
sure your parents
yeah,
know you're over here.
yeah.
And then certain things that they do in my house that, they may do in their house, but it's not going to fly in mine. I have to be stern, and say, hey, you cannot do this in my house.
Yeah.
You
No
don't if you don't
smoking cigarettes in my house, kid. I don't care.
don't smock your wet in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fine line with doing that because uh, you never know when you're going to run into that one parent who's going to be like, "You don't tell my kid what to do." But like,
Yeah,
if they're
really.
in,
Yeah,
especially if they're in your house, they can't say shit, and
really.
you might
Yeah.
still get some problem from those people because people generally do that out of embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know, and so they get defensive about it. Um, but like, I mean, you got it. You have to do it sometimes. There's just no avoiding it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I'm stern with him like my own child. I'm like, if he's doing something he's not supposed to, no. You have that bass in your voice, that authority, that if you want something done, you kind of have to give that. You can't just be like, no, no, don't do that, because they don't
Right.
listen. They don't
No.
respond to that.
Yeah.
And like I stated before, that these kids are my lesbian neighbors' kids.
Oh, I forgot about your. Oh no.
So that's another facet to this that I'm like, I gotta watch what I'm doing. It seems semi-stable. I really have no idea. I've never heard an argument from them. They seem stable enough, you know. But it's definitely a tread lightly type of situation.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, lesbians are psychos. You got to watch out for them. You never know. You can set them off.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it
I mean, it
reminds me
turned
of
out
that
good
story
already.
about the two lesbians that like murdered all of their adopted children and committed suicide.
Yeah,
Just Selma and Louise right into the Pacific Ocean. Like, holy shit, man.
I don't. Yeah, well, these aren't. Pretty sure these aren't like super liberal. At least like the Bulldyke. She drives like a Jeep with a big ass American flag.
Oh, I
Like
remember
not
you
even
telling me about this
sticker.
one.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Ah,
like it's like made onto the back windshield. Like I don't know what it's called. It's like that soft looking um, etching or whatever onto the glass. But yeah, I mean, at least patriotic enough that they're not going to probably be shit libs. But who
mhm.
knows?
I think somebody's firing off fireworks in my neighborhood.
Oh, it is Memorial Day weekend,
I guess so. It's crazy to me. I mean,
and you're in Pennsylvania, so
yeah, well, it's funny. It used to, when I first grew up here, fireworks were pretty much illegal. You had to go either to Ohio or Maryland or West Virginia to get your fireworks.
wow. Yeah, we
And-
get fireworks here. In my county, they have certain kinds banned, but I mean, it's literally a 20-minute drive, and you can get all the good shit.
yeah, exactly. I mean, so like, um, so I mean, people would still do fireworks back in those days, but you just didn't see it as much. And now I moved back up here, and I was like, "There's a damn Phantom fireworks store!" Like, like, yes, changed the laws. I don't know if you can hear that or not. My
No,
mic,
your
yeah,
gate's not picking it up.
yeah, my gate is pretty good, and this microphone is a directional mic, so it's quite loud.
That's going to be my next purchase. Is probably getting a little mixer with a noise gate on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what comes in handy.
Yeah, yeah, or have some kind of a computer interface that I can do all that stuff with.
Yeah, definitely comes in handy for all kinds of situations. Anyway, so um, I have a bunch of prep, but why don't we take a break and maybe we can come back and do some of this prep. I've got a bunch of it. I've got some new stuff. I've got some of the stuff that I've been hanging on to. I don't know if I'm going to do more vaccine stuff. I have more vaccines. Um, all kinds of things that we could talk about when we come back. Now, before the break material that I got for this week, I was talking about earlier. I have somebody reading a passage from the great Catholic writer Hilaire Belloc, talking about usury. And after that, I have E. Michael Jones talking about the Baader-Meinhof gang and the end of the left. And this is the one that I was talking about where the video is really worth watching because the guy intercuts it with clips of an old BBC documentary all about the Baader-Meinhof gang, which was a bunch of German leftist terrorists that were mainly active in the 70s. And but they are interviewing them and they're speaking in German. So in the video they have it subtitled, but like in the audio of it, you're just gonna hear like, they're just gonna be speaking German, and you're not gonna understand it unless you speak German. So for those of our listeners who speak German, you're going to get more out of it than others will. But the E. Michael Jones part is the part that I think is still interesting to listen to. It's more like because the way the guy makes the video is he has E. Michael Jones talking about this, the concept of like how this was basically the end of the actual left, and then they'll intercut it with interviews with the people who were in this organization talking about things that kind of bolster his points. So don't worry, links will be in the show notes. You can go check it out on YouTube to get the full experience. So until then, enjoy, and more to come.
Hilaire Belloc, Thoughts on Usury, an excerpt from his book, The Crisis of Civilization. Usury, to take that first, like the greed from which it proceeds, is as old as human society. Like the other evils proceeding from the Reformation, it was not created by the movement. We shall find in the case of usury, as in the case of unbridled competition, the force which, coupled with usury, achieved the creation and enslavement of the proletariat, as likewise we have already found in the case of contract replacing status, that the seeds of the change had been sown long before the actual disruption of Christendom took place. What happened after the Reformation was not that these new evils, including usury, then appeared for the first time, but, as I have said, that they turned from exceptions into admitted and general habits. They were accepted, they grew, and at last came to cover the whole field of society. Unlike the transformation of status into contract and the undue growth of competition, usury was an evil in itself. It was not only evil because it got out of proportion and swelled beyond due measure, as did the replacement of status by contract and the practice of competition, but was of its own nature a thing to be condemned and extirpated, if possible, as a disease. It may be remarked that it had already permeated like a mortal poison the society of pagan antiquity at its close, and was one of the main evils under which the society of Greco-Roman civilization collapsed in the West, and before the Mohammedan invasion of the East. The morals of the Church, when the Church gradually overcame the world and molded a new Europe, forbade usury as strongly, though not with so much practical effect, as did later Mohammedanism. Every sane philosophy, every religion, had forbidden it. The Greek pagan philosophers, with Aristotle at their head, denounced it. So did the Oriental pagans. So did the Jewish law. Now, why was this? Why was usury thus regarded universally as immoral? And why has it been found in practice to be a poison ultimately destroying society? In order to answer these questions, we must first understand what usury is, in the sense in which we here employ the term. For there is great ambiguity in the use of the word, and therefore misunderstanding of the thing which the word connotes. Usury in the sense of an economic evil does not mean the taking of interest on a loan. It does not mean the taking of interest higher than some permitted minimum. It means that taking of interest upon a loan of money alone, or still worse, upon a mere promise to lend money, an instrument of credit, whether that money be invested soundly or no, whether it represent productive energy or no. Usury is, properly speaking, the taking of increment upon a loan of money merely because it is money, or worse, still the taking of such increment upon a credit instrument. The reasons for condemning interest upon money alone, as distinguished from profit, are twofold. First, it is asking a tribute from society as the price of releasing currency, hitherto withheld from its proper function of acting as a circulating medium of exchange. Secondly, it is arranging a claim for payment for a share in profit, which may, but also may not, exist. As an example of the first evil, let us consider a market in which the supply of currency is in the hands of a small number of those present, buyers and sellers. Or even in the extreme case, the case of a bank in a small market town, in the hands of one controller only. No transactions in the market, save those of mere barter, can take place unless the monopolist holding the currency permit it to be used for its natural purpose. The natural purpose of currency is this: the facilitation of the multiple exchange of goods. If I have a surplus of wheat, having produced more than I can consume of that article, while my neighbor has a surplus of hay, having produced more than his establishment can consume, we will, if we are in contact, naturally exchange the hay for the wheat, since it is to the mutual advantage of both of us that we should do so. Now let us suppose a third party who has produced more potatoes than he can consume, but it's not sufficient hay for his purpose. Fourth, who has livestock for food in excess of his needs and would exchange the surplus for wheat. A fifth, who is a craftsman and has produced clothes and boots for the supply of others in exchange for goods which he needs. Then there arises a condition not of simple barter, but of multiple exchange. The man with the hay is not in contact with the man who produced boots, nor either of them with the man who has a surplus of potatoes. There must be present a common medium of exchange, which shall circulate among them if the various surpluses are to be distributed according to the demands of the producers and purchasers. That is the true function of money and of instruments of credit based upon money, to make possible the action of multiple exchange. Now, insofar as the monopolists hold back this current medium from general circulation, demanding a price for its use, they are demanding increment for something which has no natural increment, which does not breed. They're asking for a surplus, although that which they advance produces of itself no surplus. Although that which they advance produces of itself no surplus. They are holding up the community by refusing it as normal medium of exchange. That is the first wrong attaching to taking interest upon money alone. The second, and in complex times such as ours, much the more important. Evil attaching to usury is the taking of increment from a non-productive loan. This is manifestly immoral. A man comes to me and says, I have found upon my property a vein of ore, but it lies deep, so that I shall require a considerable capital, say $100,000, to extract the valuable metal. That metal, when it shall have been extracted, will be worth at least $200,000. But I cannot obtain this advantage until I purchase the instruments for developing the mine and have hired the labor required to work it. Lend me the $100,000 necessary for the operation. I answer him, if I do so, you must give me a share in the profit, say half of the total. He agrees that without my capital, he could not develop the mine. Without his ore, my capital would not be used. The combination of the two is productive of wealth, and we share that wealth. That is a perfectly moral transaction, even if the profit be one of 100% of or 1,000% over the original investment. So that if with my stipulated half profit, I make 50% or 500% on my original loan, I am in no way to blame. The increment is not, properly speaking, interest on a loan of money. It is his share of real wealth. But if I lend the money saying, I care not what your profits may be, nor whether there be a profit or no, but I demand $10,000 a year for the use of my $100,000, then in case the speculation fails, the borrower will be bound to pay the $10,000 perpetually, without any production of wealth to correspond to it. He will then be paying interest on an unproductive loan, and it is manifestly immoral to ask for a share of wealth which does not exist. Now, any loan at interest, which is a loan of mere money, may partake of this character, and among a number of such loans, many will partake of this unproductive character. Of the money bearing interest merely because it is money, some large proportion at any one time must be demanding interest from activities which create no wealth out of which to pay the interest. For instance, nearly all of the war loans issued in the belligerent countries to pay for the Great War, World War I, were loans unproductive of wealth, yet bearing interest. The money was expended not in developing productive capacity, not in turning potential wealth into actual wealth, but in feeding men occupied in killing each other, in clothing them, in giving them their wages and armament. When the effort was over, a vast indebtedness remained. A vast annual interest was claimed in perpetuity, and yet there has been no wealth produced out of which such increment could come. But though usury is in itself immoral and justly condemned by every ethical code, its chief and worst defect in the particular case we are now examining, the growth of capitalism and its increasing proletariat, is the centralization of irresponsible control over the lives of men, the putting of power over the proletariat into the hands of a few who can direct the loans of currency and credit, without which the proletariat could not be fed and clothed and maintained in work.
Es war ganz offensichtlich, dass das hiesige Proletariat, also die Arbeiterklasse, durch den Consumerism, die waren für die Revolution dadurch verloren. Und dann war die Frage, kann man trotzdem an eine Revolution glauben, an eine Revolution denken und versuchen, sie zu machen.
Over the course of the 19th century, Germany had united for the first time really in history. All of the German principalities had united. They had created a tariff, an external tariff against cheap English manufacturers. At this point, they started paying decent wages. Bismarck, listening to Bishop von Kettler, instituted Social Security and health insurance. At this point, the German workers stopped emigrating to places like America.
I was very impressed by their relationship, or by them being this couple, of being together, being two people. So were others. I think that's, for instance, why other people joined. I mean, not only, but it had a certain force, it had a certain power.
It goes way back to the Holy Roman Empire, which was the successor of the Roman Empire. And what was that? It was all of these principalities in the middle of Europe that suddenly were operating according to a new principle of valued labor. And that was the motto of the Benedictines, which is basically ora et labora. No one in the history of the human race had ever taken labor seriously. The Greeks, much as I admire the Greeks, felt that manual labor was something that slaves did so that people like Aristotle and Plato could be philosophers. Benedict changed all that with the monasteries. It was the Benedictines who brought grapes and fruit to the Red Danube Valley. And they taught the Germans how to work. So you had this concentration of German labor, the guild system. This was a creation of the Holy Roman Empire, which really wasn't a state. It wasn't a state until 1871, but it was basically all of these German people with habits, work habits, which were the best in the world.
Well, in the concentration camps, it said Arbeit macht frei.
Arbeit macht frei.
So obviously they even had internalized.
Some people say they were there to work. It would seem to indicate that that's what the slogan was there.
Arbeit means work, right?
Yeah.
Wir hatten, oder die sagen kann, die sich durch mein Leben ziehen, ist die Macht des Imperialismus zu zerbrechen, dass er nicht mehr solche autoritären Strukturen entwickeln kann oder aufrechterhalten kann, wie sie in Deutschland waren.
When they concentrated German labor, German productivity just took off. By 1910, Germany had surpassed England in every single category of industrial production. In addition to that, the Kaiser, having dismissed Bismarck, started challenging Britannia's rule of the waves by building battleships. That was a fatal mistake. When he did that, Churchill and Lord Grey decided that they were going to lure Germany into a war to destroy the German alternative to English capitalism. And that's what World War I was about, and World War II was just the sequel to finish off the job. So it was a Pyrrhic victory for England. England destroyed itself in the process of trying to destroy Germany. And that was the rise of the American Empire in its place, the sea power that was going to replace Britannia. And at that point, Germany became a colony of the United States. conquered, subjected to ruthless forms of social engineering. Germany is awakening to the fact that they were subjected to social engineering, and they're starting to understand the ramifications of that. And Berlin is, when it comes to social engineering, Berlin is ground zero. That was a unique situation. It was kind of the laboratory.
Das sogenannte deutsche Wirtschaftswunder war doch einer der entscheidenden Ventile dafür, dass man sich nicht mit der faschistischen Vergangenheit auseinandergesetzt hat. Also mit dem Konsum ist doch auch Geschichte zugeschüttet worden. Man hat doch sein eigenes Bewusstsein zugeschüttet über das, was deutsche Geschichte bedeutet hat.
The destruction of the left. How did that happen? They had no idea about this. The Germans, they're waking up to the fact that they don't really know their own history. They've been sold a bill of goods. 75 was, in many ways, the height of the Cold War, coming toward the climax of the Cold War. 75 was the era of the Baader-Meinhof gang that still had not been resolved, and they had this big crisis because at this point there was huge amounts of sympathy among our generation for this group of people, this group of terrorists.
Wir schmeißen die Bomben in das Bewusstsein der Masse. Damit wollten wir sagen, wir gehen davon aus, die unterdrückt sind, wissen das eigentlich auch, aber verdrängen dieses Wissen, indem sie sich mit dem Aggressor, mit dem stärkeren Angreifer, mit dem Unterdrücker identifizieren, so lange, wie der nicht als verwundbar vorgeführt wird.
Die Parolen waren alles überspannter Pseudo-Marxismus. Sie haben sich für Revolutionäre gehalten und wollten am liebsten das Unterste zu Oberst kehren. Was daraus entstanden wäre, das wussten sie nicht. Das war ihnen auch nicht so wichtig. Es waren junge Leute mit ein bisschen zu viel Aktivitätsdrang und etwas zu wenig Verstand.
What we're talking about, a crisis that was basically threatening to destroy the Bundeswehr. It was sort of hanging by a thread at that point. And this is when the oligarchs decided to step in. In 1975, we have the meeting of the G7 crowd, the masters of the universe, in Chateau Rambouillet in France.
The economic well-being of the Western world. This is the subject under consideration at a Napoleonic chateau outside Paris, at a meeting of the leaders of Britain, France, West Germany, the United States, Japan, and Italy.
They're wrestling with the problems of recession, inflation, and the other economic ills that beset their countries, independently and jointly.
And at this point, Helmut Schmidt steps up and said, Helmut Schmidt is the Chancellor of Germany, and he says, we basically have to have a new geography of production. This means the end of what he called Fordism. Fordism means high wages for high quality industrial products. What we're going to do is outsource all of our manufacturing. Obviously not all of it, but he mentioned the German textile industry. Basically was going to be sacrificed. It's over, no more German textile industry. All of that stuff is going to be produced in China now. We have satellites, we have container ships, we have computers. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to drain the swamp of sympathy for this left-wing insurrection.
Die RAF hat das erreicht, was er eigentlich nicht erreichen wollte, die Polizei so aufzurüsten, das kann man mit Worten gar nicht beschreiben. Das BKA hat 3 riesige Neubauten bekommen, hat an Personal zugelegt, aber das war natürlich Herolds Idee, jetzt mal alles zu verlangen, was notwendig ist. Er hat eine Kriminaltechnik aufgebaut, die ich später geleitet habe. Das war das Beste und das Feinste vom Feinsten.
Weil es vielleicht in der menschlichen Natur liegt. Deeskalation ist ja auch eine Sache, die psychisch abläuft. Und man macht etwas 5-mal, 6-mal, 7-mal und dann muss man nachlegen, man muss nachfeuern. Das ist so.
Fall of 1977 is the Deutsche Herbst. That was the moment where they almost destroyed the government. They almost brought the government down. They basically collaborated with the Palestinians. The Palestinians hijacked an airplane, the Landeshut. Everybody knows in Germany knows the Landeshut. It landed in Mogadishu. And basically the Germans stormed the plane, killed everybody.
The Boeing jet have all been safely freed.
The hostages of Mogadishu are freed. We are grateful that the citizens...
The special commando squad of the German border police went into action at Mogadishu airport at midnight. According to initial reports, 3 terrorists were killed.
At that point, they were not getting out of jail. Okay, Baader and Meinhof were in jail. They both committed suicide. Baader and Meinhof had kidnapped Hans Martin Schleyer, the head of the big capitalist organizations. They murdered him. He shot him right there.
Gab es eine politische Strategie dann, der hinter die Tod von Hans-Martin Schleyer steckt? Oder nicht?
Nein. Der Tod von Hans-Martin Schleyer war simpel Rache.
And so there's a crisis at this point, a crisis in the left. And this is the disintegration of basically the revolutionary movement that existed for 200 years. If you say from 1776 to 1977, that's 201 years. Complete disillusionment.
In the spring of 1975, Foucault visited America. One day, he decided to accompany 2 friends on a drive into the desert. Their chosen destination was popular among Californians at the time, Death Valley, one of the hottest and most hostile places on Earth. They arrived in the evening and parked at Zabriskie Point, overlooking the valley. They took LSD, played Stockhausen, and watched the night draw in.
Michel Foucault was a homosexual, and he had been hired at Berkeley, and he had this epiphany in Death Valley where he took LSD. The left will no longer complain about economic injustice if you allow us unlimited sexual liberation. So I sort of gave them the history of social engineering after World War II as it applied to Germany. Films like Las Jugendkumpel, the pornography films that I was talking about, being directed by this Austrian Jew who had been in an English prisoner of war camp and ended up working for British intelligence. So I don't think these are unrelated facts here. I think we're talking about something that was used on the German people to destroy the uprising that was known as the Baader-Meinhof gang at that point, to distract the worker from the fact that there was a new regime coming in.
When the wall is built, I was a man, 21, and I see people is jumping from the eastern side to the western side, and they were killed in this time. And now it changes. They come to us without danger.
The wall comes down in '89, and now Berlin, Germany, is reunified, and now Berlin is the capital of the Foucauldian Empire. So the crucial moment was 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down. 89 was the end of the era. That was the end of the Bundesrepublik. And it was the beginning of what I call the Fourth Reich.
The EU Fourth Reich.
The EU is the Fourth Reich. I got into trouble with some Germans because they don't like it when people talk about the Reich anymore. But obviously, this is the Fourth Reich. And empires do not benefit the people of the country. They benefit oligarchs. That's what empires are for. This is the oligarchs' triumph over the people. Those good jobs are never coming back. So go to the gay disco. This is the new Berlin. The Berlin is the capital now of Europe, the European Union, and it basically is the gay disco. Economy and low wages. It's homosexuals and bicycles. That's the new world order.
Nobody does it better. Nobody does it better.
And page 2 with Fatherland, everybody. Hope you enjoyed those talks. I know that the one was a bit, I have to admit, I was kind of reaching there. With that Michael Jones, we heard most recently talking about the Bader Meinhof gang and the end of the left in the 70s. I thought he made some compelling arguments there. But I apologize because there was a lot of that was very reliant on the visual element of the video. So I encourage you to go check out the link that I will put in the show notes when this show is posted. And before that, we had somebody reading from Hilaire Belloc with some of his thoughts on usury. Very educational. So yeah, all that noises that I heard going on, it was hard to tell from my basement here, but I went upstairs and yes, it is people in the neighborhood shooting off fireworks, as I suspected. And my wife is as mad as a wet hen because Chicken cannot sleep. He's freaking out over the fireworks. And as we were in the break, my wife came downstairs and she's like, I'll be back. Because she called the police, and the police don't really seem to want to do anything about it, even though noise ordinance says that after 10 o'clock at night, this is supposed to stop. So, see what happens. May God have mercy on those people when my wife shows up, I gotta tell you. Oh man, I had to mute Hook there because I heard some noise. I thought he was blowing his nose or something, but I think, yeah, that, go ahead and unmute him.
Huh, I don't know what happened because I
You had
wasn't
your
making
muted?
noise.
You said that you were doing that last week, and I still would occasionally get some stuff coming through, so I don't know what's going on there, but
Maybe I got you because I don't have headphones on. I use my speakers. That might have been.
you're going with the no can setup. Yeah, that can be a little tricky with the monitors. Make sure that you're,
I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit. With this preamp, I can't turn because I turn my volume all the way down when we go to break. But for some reason, it's still pushing through audio.
Yeah,
like I turn it all the way down. I think I might just have to go into my settings and actually mute myself.
No, that's fine. It's one click for me to just mute you. So,
Okay.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, because the break stuff usually is a little louder, so that's probably why.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just still crazy to me to think about. Like, I mean, people would go and get illegal fireworks in Pennsylvania, but they'd be a little more circumspect about shooting them off because they were illegal. So, like, get in trouble for that. But apparently, man, it's just like living in Louisiana the way people are firing these things off. But Chicken has to go march in a parade tomorrow, so she needs to get
Oh, that's
back.
awesome.
Yeah, she's going to be marching with the American Heritage Girls tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah, if she
excited.
Yeah, if she gets enough rest. Oh, she was just damn excited to be in the parade for sure.
What time's the parade?
They have to be there for like 9 at the latest, I think. 0900.
It should be good.
Well, I don't know. We normally would have gotten her to bed like 2 hours ago. But I don't know. We'll see. I can't put my phone on airplane mode like I might want to because I have to. Make sure I'm available in case I need to grab my rifle and head out there because there's a confrontation happening. Hope it doesn't. Fortunately, it's dark out, so it probably won't end up on the internet. Oh boy.
Ninja Master's pissed off about Talk Shoe. He refuses to use.
He's always whatever, man. He showed up one time. He had the agency to do that.
He doesn't like you talking about Nick Fuentes.
Good for him. I'm over here. I don't know what he meant. Whatever. I'm not lying. The facts are the facts. Anyway,
I missed his E. Michael Jones interview. I need to
I
check
didn't.
that
Yeah,
out.
I haven't caught up on that either. I might check that out either later. Or I might go to bed and then check it out tomorrow. But I saw that he was talking to E. Michael Jones, EMJ, the big one.
I don't know a whole lot about E. Michael Jones, really. I mean, he's one of us, but
I would say he's adjacent. He's very blue-pilled on the race question.
Yeah. That was
because of his age and the generation that he was raised in. His focus is mainly on Catholicism
and Jews.
Yeah, and of course he's very woke on the Jews. I mean, so you take the rough with the smooth with this kind of stuff. This idea of they're either our guy / or they're not. I mean, is frankly, I can understand where this comes from, which is very young guys who don't have a lot of experience, and like they're very idealistic and mostly on the internet, so they tend to be very very didactic. It's got to be black or white, and I understand that the real phenomenon of like life not really being like that, you can use that to sort of blur the lines and screw things up, but at the same time it's still true that so yeah, he used to be a professor at Notre Dame, I believe, and then probably got fired over the Jew stuff, and so now he just makes his money writing based books about Catholicism.
Yeah, we could definitely use more E. Michael Joneses in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't like all the hate that he gets from people because I think he has a lot of valuable things to contribute. And yeah, I mean, he raises a lot of good points that I don't hear anywhere else, and except when other people are basically taking his stuff and not crediting him for it. All right, so while I'm still broadcasting, before I'm called upon to be a one-man militia to go get my wife's ass out of trouble or bail her out of jail, let's do some prep. I want to at least get to this because this is very recent. And I think, why not do it as a screen share? So give me one moment to set that up. Maximize the window. Share the screen. I should have done this first. Hang on a second. I don't like people staring at my taskbar and picking over all the things I have running. Yeah. Set that to auto hide. From the Daily Stormer by Andrew Anglin. Self-Help Sunday. Nothing is free. I thought this was a very good article, very mature. Anglin, I think, occasionally feels the need to just sort of drop a lot of his irony and comedy stuff and try to be more real, and I really enjoy it when he does that. So this is very worth your time to read. Nobody's ever, like your dad has never given you this hard truth, or maybe it's one of those things where your dad told you nothing is free and you're like, whatever, dad. But if Andrew Anglin says it to you, you might listen. I saw a post the other day from a woman talking about how when she was 21 and pregnant with a toddler running around, she was seeing her friends from high school on Facebook posting pictures of their college parties and trips around the world, and she felt like she was missing out. someone replied that she wasn't missing out on anything. And I said, of course she was missing out. These sluts are having the time of their life. And lots of pictures of thoughty women in this article. Got to give it to this guy. He's been on the internet long enough. He knows how to write a blog post that people will look at. And basically it goes on. He's talking about, women basically frivolously giving away all of their sexual power that they should be using to lock down a good man and get married and have children. And instead they end up like Theresa May, where she has no children. I do believe she is married. And she's basically fucked up her whole life and her whole career, and Theresa May is done. Bye. Or I'm trying to be like Curly Bill here. Hang on. Well, bye.
Canceled.
Yeah. Writes a little passage about cocaine here that, frankly, strikes me. He sounds like he has some experience with cocaine. Maybe he just knows some people who were into it. When he talks about this, life's all about trade-offs. Nothing's free. Cocaine, it's going to catch up with you. All these things catch up with you eventually. But then you hit the wall. And basically, bottom line is something I've been saying for a while. It says, blaming Jews for your problems can turn out being something that makes you miserable, based on this principle of nothing being free. Jews are responsible for your problems. This is an empirical fact. But if you use that as an excuse to not exert effort to make your life better, your life is never going to get better. So the nut, which he wisely saves until the end, which you wouldn't believe how many people who are supposedly writing for much better websites can't do that. He says, so please blame the Jews, but hold yourself responsible for your own life. Spend your energy wisely and be the best that you can be. I don't know about that part. When you tell people to be the best you can be, I feel like that can be a little bit discouraging. Not everybody is going to optimize every moment of their lives. That's not what he's talking about. I don't think that's what anybody's talking about. It's more just think about what you're doing and don't waste your life on frivolous stuff just because don't fall into nihilism, feeling like everything is pointless because the Jews ruined everything. Frankly, the whole Jews thing is a cope for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're so concerned about the Jews running everything, why in the world would you let the Jews run your life?
Right.
I mean, that's basically what you're doing. They're living, rent free in your head, controlling you, making you this vengeful person when, you have a life that's worth living, whether it's, building the family that you're trying to cultivate, or, just building your career to get to that point. I mean, a lot of people get so black-pilled and then they stay in that state. That was the whole thing. Like when the Trump thing started to fizzle off, I was one of the last groups of people that jumped off of that, that the Trump train, I guess. And it wasn't because I was some plan trusting, caved in head Wojak. It was that I had hope in something, and I didn't see what the point of getting so down about everything was, even if everything was bad and we got completely duped. It wasn't the fact that we got duped that was the problem. It was the fact that these people are putting out such negative energy for a movement that is very, I wouldn't say sensitive, but it's there's not a huge groundwork here that we can just kind of hang our hats on stuff here. I mean, we are building something that it's revolutionary. It's true revolutionary if we can actually do something with it. I mean, it's definitely not, the communist revolutions that we're seeing popping up all around the world right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't let another group that you feel is, preventing you from doing things control your life. Yeah, there may be things in your life that you can't control because of them, but there's way more things that you can control. Don't stop passing things off on other people as to the reason why you can't do something. And I'm guilty of that too. I mean, I think everybody is a little bit, at least the way I see it out there. But yeah, you have to keep pushing forward. If you're not pushing forward, you're either stagnant or going backwards, and that helps nobody.
Well, that's why you put the picture of Mel up here.
Uncle Mel, he's never wrong.
Everybody thought based Uncle Mel was done, and look at him now. They
I
threw
love
everything.
Hacksaw Ridge so
much.
Have you seen Hacksaw Ridge?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen any of his recent movies, to be honest. I don't get a lot of time.
That and Apocalyptico were probably like my two favorite Mel movies. They were excellent.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. I'm more just enjoying watching him succeed.
Oh yeah, it triggers so many people.
That's really got to trigger the fuck out of all of these people, and it's so great.
He's got a new movie coming out called Rothschild.
Yes, this is obviously a deliberate troll material. Yeah.
With Shia LaBeouf, of all people. Like,
I know, right? Well, the guy always seemed a little bit unhinged to me. I don't know. Maybe he's moved into Mel's circle and he's starting to learn some stuff. Or, I mean, he's an actor. He could just be doing it for a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, definitely, yeah. But, he will not divide us. We'll live in infamy.
No, I love that.
That was just the golden age of, Keck and all that. It was.
Oh yeah.
Those are some good times. The freaking camera, and then
the
thing with the flag and the pole.
Good times and great oldies.
Oh man.
But yeah, the more I hear people talking about all this stuff, it starts to sound less like, about Trump especially, it starts to sound less like engaging with reality and more just like everybody has now adopted this particular paradigm, and I'm not sure how much of this is engaging with reality and how much of this is just now everybody has decided that, well, now if you want to be one of the cool guys, you have to hate Trump. I just don't. I can't. I just find myself just not wanting to go along with that, frankly. I think that's not the whole story. And I'm not going to go too much more into that because that's not really what I do here. But anyway. Well, let's see. I've had this one. You what?
To the chat over here, Mr. Dark Knight.
Oh. Hang on a minute. My wife is back. Let me see what happened.
All right. Mr. Dark Knight, there's essentially nothing one can accomplish.
Don't engage with him. Whatever. Go back to Stormfront or something.
Yeah, I mean, this was exactly what I was kind of talking against here. It doesn't do anybody any good at all. Come up with a solution, my friend. Then say something. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. I'm getting the story here from my wife.
It's all good. Hopefully they got those rotten fireworks people.
Yeah. She finally go to bed? Okay. I know, I'll get it. I mean, I didn't know, but I haven't been over there, but all right. Damn dog. All right, good. And we don't call them rednecks here. We call them boonyaks. You can call them whatever you want, but boonyaks. Polish term.
Well, they were straight up right.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they were.
Okay, what English?
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm the first person who had the balls to come and figure out what was going on.
Well, thanks. I'm sorry you had to do that.
So, I was done. Already shooting off all the fireworks? Hitting the parking lot.
Oh, no, I got it. It's too bad I don't have a microphone where you guys can hear her going off. Sorry for all the dead air.
It's all good.
So basically what happened was she just got back. She went out and found where these guys were shooting fireworks off from. And was like, y'all need to get the fuck out of here. And like, basically just like ran them off. So.
Oh, they weren't even like, they didn't live there?
I don't, probably not, but probably not too far away, is my guess. That they knew there was this area that they could go to where there was a lot of space that they could shoot fireworks off from.
Yeah, it's a little late for that on a Sunday night.
No, it's funny. I mean, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure why she's so pissed. I think it's just because Chicken has a thing in the morning that she needs to go to. Because in the past, like, we've done events where fireworks were going off late at night and then she was just like, woo, we're having fun, woo, like, but then again, like, Chicken did not have anything going on in the morning and she wasn't pregnant and
Yeah, the scorn of a pregnant woman.
Yeah, really. So my guess is that we'll see. She's probably going to be okay by tomorrow, but this may not be over. This may result in a call to the local authorities once everybody returns to work Tuesday. This is why they want women going to work instead of being housewives, because housewives have a lot of free time that they can use to annoy the shit out of politicians.
This is true.
Yeah. So they like having women have to go to work instead, because otherwise she could be down there and like calling them on the phone or just showing up at their office and be like, what are you going to do about this problem? I want to talk to your manager. I want to talk to your supervisor. Oh, boy. Well, let's see. I was doing this when she came down. I've had this in my prep for a long time, and I'd like to get rid of it. So maybe I actually haven't read this. All I saw was the headline, and I scanned it a little bit. And so we might have to take this ride together. This is another Horse Girl article, so buckle up, because this has an extra dose of crazy. And screen share. Here we go. Finland's hobby horse girls, once a secret society, now prance in public. For years, a subculture of teenage hobby horse enthusiasts flourished under the radar. Now the craze is a national export and a celebration of girlhood. And I don't know how well this comes through over the screen share, but here we have this animated GIF of a girl on a hobby horse just kind of doing her thing. Okay. I don't know how to feel about this, to be honest.
Oh, what the hell?
A dozen girls waited in line in a Helsinki arena for the dressage competition, ready to show off their riding skills, their faces masks of concentration. If anyone thought it strange that the girls were riding sticks, no one let on. The make-believe world of the hobby horse girls extended as far as the eye could see. A veterinarian lectured girls on hobby horse vaccination schedules. Of course.
Wow.
Vaccines. I like how they work the vaccines into it. The normal things that normal girls like, they don't feel like my things. I like the hobby horse. Oh, see, we're practicing our steeplechase with the hobby horse here. Nords are weird, man. It's impossible to say when this craze began because it spread for years under the radar before adults became aware of it. 2012, a filmmaker stumbled across internet discussion boards used by hobby horse enthusiasts and was enraptured. Teenage girls had invented a form of hobby horse dressage, which, if you've never heard of, is basically like showing off your horse. You have it do, you walk it around and you train it to prance around in a certain way, and it's all about form with a dressage. This evolved into an elaborate network of coaches and students in competitions, but it was discussed only online for the most part because it's fucking weird.
Okay, white people are canceled. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. This is, I mean, when black people are like, man, white people are crazy. Like, it's hard to disagree with
What a
black
great
people.
backdrop for a black metal album.
I know, right?
Except there's a girl riding a stick with a horse head on it.
Well, there is a
And look at
film
her
out
hair.
there.
It's almost
the
like
hair,
SJW-esque,
Yeah, the hair, I feel like that's aposematism there. That's a warning. Like, warning, I'm crazy.
I would like to see if there's maybe some links we can find here to these. Oh my God, they're really doing the whole bit, aren't they?
Oh, I know.
Just
See?
damn
The
things.
steeplechase. Anything you can do with a real horse, it seems like these girls are doing with their hobby horse.
I don't know.
I somehow feel like Swedes are involved in this. Just a hunch. I don't know.
It is odd, but what the hell are they cleaning them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think this is
How do
because
they
the
get it in?
captain is cleaning Fanny's hobby horse after a ride in the forest. Rode hard and put away wet.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't
And like
know. I
this is an
mean,
independent thing. Like it's not like they start doing this to get to the real
right.
horses.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, most of these girls, like just scanning through this article, I mean, they seem like they're tweens or younger, and it's like,
That one wasn't though. That's what scares me. Is the older ones doing it. That's just kind of kids can be kids and just do that, whatever. But that one is an adult. 20
yeah,
something.
let's see, they profile her up here. Um, let's see, was that this girl was a celebrity?
I mean, she's a pretty girl.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
not in Norwegian
one girl,
standards. I'm sure she's probably like a 4.
one girl's 11. Problem is, these girls all have Finnish names, so it's hard to keep track of.
Oh, Finland. I'm thinking Norway.
Yeah.
Same difference, really. Finnish people. I've met a couple of Finnish people, and They are different. They're a bit different. They're, I've met I've met Loritz before, and he
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
come off as strange. But I have met Finnish people, and they're a little different. Their humor is a bit different. Even I wouldn't even say it's as dry as the Norwegians, but
Yeah.
It's
Too
just
bad we don't have Swedish Metal here to help comment on this, because I bet he'd have
we
something
don't
to
have
say.
any of the regulars here tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a holiday weekend. I mean, who knows what they're up to? They're probably out doing stuff.
I'm glad there are people that are communicating in the chat, though.
Yes, even if some of them are, I would rather not, but why not? What the hell? Yeah,
They're
that
not.
girl is this girl is now 20. She's 22 years old now. She's been into it since she was like 12, and apparently she's still into it. The hobby horse pastime is now celebrated as a national export, with national championships held every summer, and Miss Arniomaki as its unofficial spokeswoman. She's been invited to give demonstrations in Sweden, Russia, and the Netherlands, all places where the hobby is taking off. So this shit is spreading. Seems like only a matter of time before it comes to America. Maybe, I don't know. If you got some money sitting aside, you might want to think about maybe getting in on the ground floor of this, because, I mean, look at all this organization. I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, they have judges. Okay, that this is like a thing. I'm sure there's prizes. Like they have to have people. They have to rent a space. They have to have people come in and set all this shit up. There's this Unelma Kepari thing that I keep seeing that is clearly the brand name. Where's that picture? Yeah, here we go. UnelmaKepari.com, where you can buy all of your hobby horse shit. Here you go.
Oh,
I
man.
bet that's the Swede right there. There's the Swede money, if not the Swede running it. Behind every Jew, there's a Swede.
I want off this stick with a horse head.
Oh, this girl is cute though. Look, she's 7 years old. I mean, see, this is, I mean, it's like I don't know. Like, what's worse? Would it like having these girls do like beauty pageants where they're 7, 8 years old wearing makeup, you know, like John Benet Ramsey and shit? I mean, or like doing this. Like, this is in a weird. It's weird, but kind of wholesome at the same time.
Yeah, that was kind of the point I was getting to. I mean, with the younger people, it's that they're off doing a strange thing for, I guess, entertainment purposes. I mean, I don't know what they gain as human beings doing this, but I mean,
now this is Fanny. They were talking to her in the text up above. She attends a village elementary school with 24 children in her 5th grade class. Increasingly, she feels different. She listens to heavy metal, and 2 years ago, she decided she was a goth.
Oh, shit. She's a goth that does that.
Yeah.
That's not what I would picture a goth doing.
I mean, and I guess at least they're getting some exercise, because here they are, like she's going out into the woods with her mother, and her mother has her own thing, which, I'm guessing
they're
her
putting
just
personalities
like,
with their stick horses.
yeah, she's talking about her horse, Tarzan. He's very gentle. He learns fast. He really loves to jump.
And this gets into the furry territory, and because they start putting agency into like a fictional character. There's probably all sorts of Freudian
well, it's always an issue when it comes to the horse thing. I think there's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. I mean, I just bring this up for the discussion. I'm still not sure what to think about this. It is weird, but at the same time, like we've got one example of a weird girl who didn't drop it when she got older. This one, and she seems like she's probably fun.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are all tween or younger, and like this is just kind of their weird thing that they like to do. Um, let's go back to the animated GIF here. It's kind of hypnotic.
Paul says you can't get too triggered about this because hobby horses have been a traditional European toy. Yeah, I mean it is, but it's
Okay. But yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like the whole like it's traditional European, man. Like so is human sacrifice. Okay, like this is not. I'm not saying this should be banned or anything. It's. Can we just agree that it's? I don't know. Girls are weird. I mean, like this. Like
just watching this. I mean, could you imagine watching a competition of this girl prancing around with a stick between her legs? I don't know if this is like. I don't even want to put.
In one sense, it's sort of like they're putting so much effort into this. It's like they could be doing, I don't know, skiing, swimming. By the way, watch this GIF and stop looking at the girl with the Levi's t-shirt. Look in the back on the right, and there's another girl kind of spazzing out in another stall. You see that?
She's in the holding pen.
Yeah, this girl has way better form than the one in the back. I can see why they chose to focus on her because that one's not going to get a gold medal. I'll tell you that.
I mean, this girl looks like she's what, like 13?
You gotta be either that or she's a little overdeveloped for her age. But yeah, she's got to be like 12, 13. And yeah, I mean, part of me sort of feels like it's like you imagine the amount of time and effort that they put into, because this is a competition, where they're probably judging them on like form and things like that, like you would judge in a normal dressage competition, except it's a hobby horse thing. And it's sort of like you could be putting that effort into a real sport that later on might translate into a scholarship for college. I mean, I know sending your girls to college, but I mean, come on, it's Finland, okay? Can't be that paused. And but just in general, just life, you know what I mean? Like, if she learns to ski, she could be skiing her whole life, and she can't be doing the hobby horse thing her whole life, you know? So, like, I feel like this is gonna be a fad that kind of happens, and then it's going to hit the internet, and then it's going to flame out because this is getting so big. I mean, this is the idea of like competitions and things like this is just kind of ridiculous to me. Like, it's one thing if girls just have this like internet subculture where they go on the internet and they talk to each other, then they go out into the woods and they ride their hobby horses around and they make up stories about their imaginary horses. It's like girls kind of do that shit. Okay, they do that with their Barbies, they do that with their stuffed animals. That's just kind of what girls do. That's why so many more women end up writing than men do, and especially in like fantasy genre. It's just like the way girls are. It's just more like this. This is becoming so commercialized so fast. I feel like this has got to flame out.
Yeah.
One of our guests helpfully adds that Unel Nakapari is Finnish. Yeah, no kidding. I figured it was Dutch. Like, yeah, I'm just saying that it may have a Finnish name, but there's got to be a Swede involved somewhere because there's money to be made. Anyway, I'll stop with that. I think we've squeezed that particular fruit for about all the juice we could get out of it. Say what now?
I didn't expect that when you were talking about horse girls.
Yeah, I told you there was going to be a little bit of a twist.
I mean, my wife is what I thought would be a horse girl. Yes. I mean, she's into horses. She used to own horses and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, she likes watching horse movies and stuff like that, but she's not like like some of these obsessive people that talked about on here and stuff. But I mean, I think she was more into it before me, before she had like an actual real relationship. Because I mean, she had like books and stuff on horses, and little figurines of horses and stuff. And once we got together, that went out the window. She doesn't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
I think some of that horse girl stuff actually is maybe a coping mechanism for something wrong in their life.
Oh, almost certainly. At least in the ones where it approaches like a pathology, Like I
Yeah.
think girls liking horses is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Girls being horse girls, that's not normal.
I think anybody liking horses is pretty normal. I mean,
Yeah. Very fair.
It's in our genes to rely on horses.
Well, let's see. I have some more serious stuff, or I have something that looked fun, but I haven't. This is another one prep that I hadn't had time to look at. So, you know what? Maybe we should do this, and then we can get to the weird thing. This is going to be from the Captain Obvious desk, admittedly. But one of the nice things about the current era is how all this shit is now being just coming straight out into the open. And thanks to the internet, it's harder to hide than it used to be. Want to dismantle capitalism? Abolish the family. Feminist theorist Sophie Lewis's new book looks at how rethinking pregnancy and the idea of family as forms of labor is central to emancipatory politics.
Hey, I know somebody named Soph that might want to talk to this lady.
Mm-hmm. Her new book, Full Surrogacy Now, Feminism Against Family. Wow. Just right out there. I love it. Finally. Yes, finally. Come on out. No more hiding in the shadows. Let's meet in open ground. Let's do this. The act of carrying a child to term, she insists, is work, labor that has long been exploited and overlooked by the academy, and so is mothering. Well, shit, she's not wrong there.
These are like the wignats of the liberal establishment here,
right?
Because like these ideas aren't gonna take off. They're just like, oh yeah, let's be edgy for the sake of being edgy here.
Okay, well, hold on. I think she's drawing the wrong conclusions from it, but I wouldn't disagree that this is a type of work. I mean, I've started calling my, when people ask me, is my wife work? I say, yeah, she's a full-time mom. It is work. It's not like she's laying around all day eating bonbons. That was a Jew myth that was promoted to shame women who were homemakers and get them to go out and get themselves a $25,000 a year job in an office somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of want to see where she's getting at in this. She definitely spent a lot of time thinking about it, it looks like.
This is another one I didn't have time to read, but and I didn't bother because I figure I could just do the math on this, where she's going to start from the premise, which is correct, of that this is work, and so therefore women are being exploited because they're not being paid, they're not getting, they're not, it's not under the labor laws, that kind of thing, I think, is what's going on.
Yeah, it's a position that it's completely ridiculous because, I mean, as soon as you start, I mean, honestly, if you look at the system, yeah, women do benefit, from being mothers,
Oh.
especially single mothers.
And the fact that she titles her book Full Surrogacy Now, I think what she's advocating is something that we saw in the 70s that she's trying to bring back, which is the idea of like, the village raising the child.
I see. I thought you were going to go for like a house mother.
Yeah, like,
like where they literally do get a living wage to take care of children, and the mother goes out and provides along with the father.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, she says, here, like, this is why it's so valuable to denaturalize the mother-child bond.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, see, this is, I think, what she's getting at here is to basically, like, the family is exploitive, so what we need is, like, to just, women are just dropping kids wherever, and this was attempted in the 70s, too, where, like, people were having kids in these orgies by women, and they would basically not tell the kids who their real parents were, and it was like, well, where are all your parents, all that kind of shit. And obviously this led to some extremely fucked up people, and that whole project had to be abandoned for a while, and this lady seems like she would like to bring that back. Currently, the whole logic of surrogacy is to excise the surrogate from the family picture. The whole point of being a surrogate is that you are never really there. That's something I want to challenge, the idea that babies belong to anyone, the idea that the product of gestational labor gets transferred as property to a set of people. That is actually one of the revolutionary horizons that the Sisterhood of Black Single Mothers advocated for, how children should belong to no one but themselves. Oh boy, and this is where we get things like
Black single mothers.
Yeah, I know, right?
That should tell you everything.
This is where we get things like these things sort of tend to trickle down from the radicals, and it got to the boomers, and this is where we would get things like, well, I don't want to raise the child in a religion. I want them to make the choice for themselves when they're an adult. That kind of thing.
Yeah, if that were, what they wanted to do for kids, my son would be like worshiping Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
And, it's not going to happen.
What surrogacy means is standing in for one another, caring for one another. It's a word to describe the very actual but also utopian fact that we are the makers of one another, blah, blah, blah. Full surrogacy in that sense is a demand for a commune, a proliferation of relations, rather than a continuation of a logic. Surrogacy TM. Ooh, very edgy there with the TM. That is about propping up the proprietarian biogenetic nuclear private household that is our main kinship model. I mean, part of the problem with this article is it's a lot of argle-bargle, and you have to really kind of get through to what this lady's actually advocating, but I think I outlined it there pretty clearly, which is, no family structure, communal living, children belong to everybody, they have no parents except everybody's their parent, all that kind of thing. How this exactly is exploitive, I'm not clear.
Just the title of this, I think it's just, I would like to see where she's going with it, but it doesn't sound right. Like, if you want to dismantle capitalism, abolish family.
Yeah, maybe this is a long piece, so it might be further down. She keeps raising the example of like, well, sometimes women kill children. Like, yeah, that does happen.
Like she's trying to play to that sect of people.
Sometimes Negroes know how to do math. What's your point, honey? Sylvia Plath didn't like being a mom. Yeah, no shit. That lady had some problems. Yeah, I don't know. I think this might need a bit of a deeper dive. I might have bitten off more than I could chew with this to do it in real time. I should have read this beforehand. Sorry.
Oh man, she's really getting into like we've been circling around the contributions of black and brown feminist scholars
Yeah.
you've been bringing up in your work and in our conversation, like Alexis Pauline Gumbs, Ruth Wilson Gilmore,
Yeah.
and
Black motherhood was always queer. What the fuck does that mean? See that what?
I mean, she might not be wrong.
Well, it's queer in the sense that it's kind of weird. It doesn't really
Yeah.
make white people, that's for sure.
Is she just advocating this for black people? Is that what we're getting here?
No, I think it's just, I think this is just an example of like white liberals trying to show that they have black people and brown people on their side and be like, see, yeah, look, black and brown people are on this team too, so it means it's good.
Oh, and now she brings up infant mortality. Black infant mortality is astronomical compared to white infants. It's absolutely disparate.
Yeah. Desperate, yeah. Can you at least somebody proofread this shit? Yeah, I mean, scanning through this, I see absolutely nothing about how this wrecks capitalism at all. And as one of our guests points out, and my internet cuts out. God, son of a bitch.
It doesn't seem to affect anything as far as the recording goes. Because I see it pop up every now and again, and it'll come right back. Wait. Maybe that did fuck everything. Great. Goodbye, Jim. Hello, Jim.
I blame my mother-in-law. She's probably on her phone watching endless YouTube videos. What I was going to say was that I saw nowhere in this article that I could see just scanning through it where she was talking about capitalism. And one of our guests points out, he says, I know what the capitalists will hate, rootless people who have no connections and are as socially mobile as capital and goods.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly my point.
This seems like exactly what capitalists would want.
I mean, that would be like the globalist minds. I was looking for the nose in it, you know. There's
Well,
got to be a
going back
nose.
here, this article was written by Rosemary Ho, who, based on the name, is Chinese. And we can go to her author page real quick. Meanwhile, the lady who wrote this book, going back up to the top, Sophie Lewis, which, I don't know.
She doesn't look, from what I saw,
Yeah,
she did.
she looks pretty white to me. She's got a big nose, but that doesn't necessarily, I mean, it's not a very Jewish nose. I'm going to say, when it comes to the feminist stuff, you can't always look for the Jew because a lot of white women get caught up in this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're for the destruction of the family structure. That's not anything new to anybody in our circles. So,
oh, no picture. Her work has appeared in Popula, The Outline, and elsewhere. Oh well, I'm guessing Hapa, possibly half Jewish. Rosemary Ho. This lady might possibly be part Jewish, but like I said, with the feminist stuff, the woman is the spiritual Jew of the world, frankly. Like, they can very quickly adapt and get caught up in this stuff, like in, if they go to college. Yeah, I don't know. If you'd had plastic surgery on your nose, guest, I think you would have tried to get a better one than that. Just saying. They usually try to make them smaller, you know? Anyway. That one I think deserves more of a deep dive. Maybe somebody else will get to that at some point. My screen is no longer sharing, or is it?
No, it's not.
I'm sorry. Okay. Did I talk about this last week about people going to the ER and just sitting in the parking lot?
No. Sounds
Okay.
interesting.
This one's kind of sad. Why one mom didn't take her kid to the ER even after poison control said to. 2 years ago, this lady's daughter got into a bottle of Dramamine, even though it had a child lock on it. I immediately swept her mouth with my finger, but I wasn't sure how many pills she ate, so should you take her to the emergency room? And a Dramamine overdose could lead to seizures, said poison control. So she was told they would likely give her the child activated charcoal and possibly pump her stomach. But the mom knew that the emergency room could be expensive. A few months earlier, she'd gone to the emergency room after falling down her friend's stairs. She ended up with a $1,200 bill that she still hadn't paid. So what they decided to do was to give her some activated charcoal at home and drive to the ER. But instead of going inside, they would sit in the parking lot and
wait on
and wait and watch her. And then that way you're right there so that if she starts taking a turn for the worse, you can run her into the emergency room.
I can understand.
Yeah.
I can understand. I wouldn't do it myself, but I can understand.
Well, I have good insurance, so I wouldn't do it either. But a lot of people don't have good insurance thanks to Obamacare.
Who cares though? I mean, they can't refuse you service.
Well, see, that's part of this for me, which is sort of like they can't refuse you service. They can bill you as much as they want, and then you just don't pay it. Now, admittedly, it wrecks your credit, which can cause you problems in things.
And well,
but at the same time, it's like you have to do what you have to do, and so in a sense, it's a bad feel because it's like, in case you guys missed it, here's the mom and here's her daughter who had the Dramamine overdose, and they are 100% white. This is something only white people worry about, is paying their emergency room bill, frankly.
Well,
And that
as
is
far as
why
the credit rating,
here's the author is being like, oh, why $629 for a Band-Aid, $20,000 for a bicycle crash? Like, yeah, because why could that be, Vox? It's from Vox.com, by the way. Why could that be, Vox? That it's so expensive to go to the emergency room. And we just pointed out that it's not at all difficult to just skip on the bill. So we've got Mexicans going there and all other kinds of random people from other countries just getting all of their medical care at the emergency room and usually getting an ambulance ride there to boot so they don't even have to drive themselves.
I'm not a whiz with credit reporting, but I did just buy a house. And I have outstanding medical bills that I've never paid.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to pay everyone I can, but some of them are ridiculous. So does my wife. Those didn't factor in on our credit check. So I don't know if like certain credit checks check for that kind of stuff. But I mean, I didn't have an issue with it. Actually, Sven talked about this not too long ago. He's like, why the hell are we paying medical bills? Just don't pay it. Why are we getting insurance? Just don't freaking pay the bill. I mean,
I would say
I can see that mentality. Honestly, it's ridiculous.
There is a certain viewpoint where, depending on who is looking at your credit, they don't necessarily take medical bills into account. It's gotten to that point.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I had to go in for a CAT scan, and for a CAT scan, it's like $3,000.
Yeah,
$3,000 for a freaking kidney stone to see where it's at.
Yep.
And I'm like, I have to get it done. to be able to figure out what's going on with me, because at the moment I had no idea. And every time that I have an issue with my kidney, if the stone's still in there because it wasn't large enough for them to actually go in and try to take it out, they're like, it's not big enough. There's not a point to go and try to bust it up. It should come out naturally. But if I ever have a problem with it again, I got to get another CAT scan and see where it's at, because they can't they can't give me a proper diagnosis without knowing where the damn thing is. And it's $3,000 a pop for that. I mean, it's just to run me through a machine. It's insane how much this shit costs.
Here's some tweets that the author of this article, I guess, solicited, and people saying they did the same thing, where they went to the ER, but they didn't go inside. They just sat outside and monitored the situation in case it got worse.
And of course, the fact that they're white, it just confirms what I would think. They're being as responsible as they can for not only, sort of for their child, but for the whole system.
Yeah.
They don't want these medical bills to pile up, and whether they believe it is because they can't pay it and they're going to ruin their credit, or they don't want to be, a leech on the system. It makes perfect sense that they're white.
One reason Texas has such a high uninsured rate, it's among the 14 states that do not participate in the Affordable Care Act's Medicaid expansion. Yeah, that's what it is, Vox. Sure.
Oh, God.
Not the bean invasion that's flying across the border, where you can see here they do the stats on uninsured children from 0 to 18, and Texas has 11%.
Yeah, Texas doesn't want Schwoogie care, so.
Yeah. Gee, huh? So, let's see. Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona. New Mexico's probably, they're so liberal, they probably have the Medicaid thing going on. Alaska, what's that full of? That's basically full of snow schwoogies. So that's probably a big reason for it. They don't have a lot of illegal immigration there, I'm sure, but.
I mean, we use Medicaid here for our son. And
yeah.
And we haven't had to pay a dime, for anything.
Well, they probably don't bother charging you just because so many people on Medicaid just don't even bother paying, even if you try to bill them for anything.
Yeah, I mean, for the whole delivery, all the stuff with that, I mean, we didn't pay a dime.
Now, I will say that this author did make a good point, which is weird, me saying that. It feels weird that I'm saying that, but we ration access to healthcare in the United States, and this is what it looks like. When people talked about universal coverage schemes saying that there was going to be rationing, which is correct, but we also have a very similar, we don't have like 100% free market healthcare in this country. And this is a kind of a rationing where people are not, they're making decisions based on the finances, even in situations where it's like going to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, part of the problem here is, frankly, this was all the design of Obamacare, which was to force people to get into bigger and bigger and bigger pools, which would require working for bigger corporations instead of small businesses, because small businesses, they just can't swing having better insurance. Because they don't have access to as big of a group. I mean, up here, I skipped past it, but they talk about, this lady used to have health insurance, but that changed in 2017 when she left her job at a large oil company to stay home with her 2 children. Her husband works for a air conditioning repair company, had a plan for them, but it would cost hundreds of dollars in monthly premiums and would come with a $5,000 deductible. which is true. A lot of people see that they're paying all of this money for health insurance and they still have such a high deductible that they're just ending up paying out of pocket for this. And that's by design, because what you're doing is you're subsidizing all the people who, frankly, are illegal Mexicans or whatever that aren't paying any of their bills and can't afford any of this stuff. Somebody has to pay for that. On the individual market, it looked even worse. Family plans can have deductibles of $14,000. Yeah.
Jesus, man.
I mean, none of this was a problem before the Obamacare shit started, frankly. And that is basically what has done all of this. And this is all by design. It was designed to basically create an untenable situation where we could start pushing more and more people onto Medicaid and Medicare, and we get universal health care by the back door. And you can argue about, well, universal health care works great in Sweden. Well, it's because, Sweden is a homogenous, or used to be a homogenous country. And in fact, the less homogenous their country gets, the more it's starting to break down there. Just like in the UK and Canada, same stuff is happening there. But these people just keep hammering this. It's just like, well, we just have to get everybody on the universal health care plan and it'll all work out. And like, no, it's just going to be just as bad, except now, you won't have any choice about anything because it'll all be done through the government. I mean, yeah, but
I was contemplating putting my son on my insurance for the next open enrollment we have at my job.
Yeah.
But I got to see what that looks like, what the deductible is, and I'm kind of insurance retarded with a lot of this stuff. I have coverage on myself. That's it right now, and I'm already paying enough. I don't want to pay any more, but I don't know. I'm going to see how much it's going to cost. I mean, what would be do you know much about that? What would be an average for 3-person family to be insured through?
Honestly, it all depends on the size of the group that you're participating in. So really, it depends more on the size of the company that you're working for. So if you work for a small company, it can be expensive. Like the numbers that are in this article that they were quoting are stuff that I've seen. And in fact, I used to have a plan like that because I worked for a much smaller organization, and now I work for a massive one, and my insurance is pretty damn good as a result of that.
Yeah, I work for a pretty good sized company, so
okay,
maybe that'll.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, you can always call your benefits people.
Yeah.
There are people that their job is they just sit around behind a desk all day doing this stuff, like answering questions and, all that kind of thing. They should be able to answer your questions about that. If you really do work for a pretty large company, you might be able to get a pretty good deal on your insurance.
But right now we're paying zero, for him.
Yeah.
So it's like I could pay zero and have to send him to, X doctors, or I could pay and send him to probably a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that's the trade-off I guess you make. I don't necessarily have a big problem with where he's going right now.
You're definitely going to have better access to care with a plan that's not Medicaid, because a lot of doctors are just not going to take Medicaid because nobody wants to deal with those people because they don't, even if you try to charge them a copay or whatever, they just won't pay it. Half the time, Medicaid people don't even show up for their appointments. It's just a huge hassle. It's not worth it. So a lot of doctors won't see them. So
we haven't had an issue yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had an issue. I feel like if I do go out and get insurance, that's when I'm going to run into the issues most likely.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, that's why they call it insurance, though.
Yeah.
It's health insurance. You're basically getting it in case something happens. I mean, I wanted to share this story just because it kind of blew my mind, the idea of like people worrying about an emergency room bill and sitting in the parking lot outside of the emergency room and waiting to see if things looked like they were taking a turn for the worse, and then they could just be right there to rush the kid into the emergency room. And just like, damn, like this is pretty bad.
It's definitely something that, you could see coming. That's the fact that we can say, oh, well, I could see this happening. That's bad stuff.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. Well, like I said, I'm feeling a bit low energy tonight, and it's getting kind of late anyway, so I think I'm going to close that. Let's see here.
Oh, I do have something that we're
Yeah, if you
doing.
have something, I want to scan over this thing that might be fun to do real quick. So go ahead. I'll listen, but I'm scanning at the same time.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of a Legoland.
Oh, of course I've heard of Legoland. Chicken has been to the Legoland in Atlanta. It's just
Really?
like they just have like a little mini one. It's not like the real one that's in Denmark, of course, the big one.
Oh, that's where like I didn't even realize they were
That's
like
where the
different.
original Legoland is in Denmark. That's where Legos are from. Or
Okay,
Lego.
I
Excuse
didn't
me.
even know that.
Let's correct you, in Denmark.
But yeah, we're gonna go to the one close to us.
Oh, they have
not-
it. Is it like a full size theme park there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I haven't. Well, I've never been, so I really don't know. But I mean, it's been there for quite a while, and I've never been because I didn't have a child. Now I have a child that is old enough to ride the rides and stuff. So I went and bought tickets. I got them discounted because I don't know if you've ever used tickets at work. I guess they're discounted somewhat. But yeah, we bought 3 tickets. It was like,
No, I've never heard of this. What is this? Tickets at work?
yeah, some jobs, they sign up for it or something, and they give you discounts on freaking everything. Like I've gotten a
Oh,
rental car through it one time. You get hotels, movie tickets,
is that something that
flights.
your company offers you?
Yeah, but I mean, I've worked for another place that offered it also. So I
Huh.
mean, it's like a big, I guess whatever job you're working for has to go, say, hey, we want to use tickets at work for our employees to give them,
That's a nice benefit to provide
extra
people.
benefits.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're not fantastic discounts.
Oh,
I mean, you're
yeah.
maybe saving $20, but you're saving $20.
Hey, it's still $20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
we
look
bought
at
them through there. It was still over
Florida thing because
$200.
it's like Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal
Yeah, those aren't
World.
very good discounts because like what they do is they say, okay, we'll give you a discount on a 3-day pass.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to buy a full 3-day pass, and yeah, they're going to give you like a $30 discount on the 3-day pass, which a 3-day pass is still like, $300 per person. Yeah, Disney, I got my own connections for Disney, so I'll
Nice.
all you got to, if you live here, you just kind of got to ask around, and eventually somebody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I can get you some tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I knew a girl that had her dad was like a janitor, and he was gonna like meet me at a gas station before his shift one day to get some tickets. Of course, it's like some Puerto Rican
course, it's Florida. It just has to be shady, even though you're getting tickets for Disney.
Yeah.
Meeting in a parking lot.
Dude, have you ever been to the McDonald's around Disney?
Last time I was at Disney was in the 90s, so maybe.
Well, I believe Orlando has like the biggest McDonald's in the country or something like that. It was some kind of biggest McDonald's. It's humongous, but they have like menu items I've never seen before. Like they have pizza and stuff.
Huh.
It's really
Interesting.
weird.
Sounds
Like
like they try to make it a
quadruple
little more
cheeseburgers.
European, because McDonald's has a lot of weird shit in other countries.
Yeah, KFC too. Like you can get fries at some
Huh.
KFC.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Florida's another country, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this article is not too interesting. So you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and close it out because it's getting kind of late. I know you. Well, you don't have to go to work tomorrow.
No, I'm actually off tomorrow.
Trying to get into the habit, I guess.
Yeah.
So we had so much technical problems anyway. So yeah, thanks, Hook.
Yep.
Thanks for everybody who showed up to listen to the live stream on a holiday weekend. To everybody else, all the regulars who weren't here, we'll see you on the podcast. I'm going to try to do production and get this out tomorrow for you. Your Memorial Day. I hope everybody has a good Memorial Day weekend. And let's not forget why we have this holiday here in America. To remember all of the men who died in all of our wars. Whatever you may think about those wars, not the point. The point is, good men went out and did what they thought was right. A lot of them were drafted. They had no choice. And a lot of them didn't come home. And this day is not about Churchill or Woodrow Wilson or even George Washington, if you don't like him, or Abraham Lincoln. It's about the average guy who had to pick up a rifle, try to survive, try to do the right thing, follow orders, and come home alive. And not everybody managed to do that. So I hope that this weekend, instead of getting caught up in all this autistic bullshit from all of your alternative and revisionist history that you read, you take a minute to just dial it back a bit and remember that a lot of normal guys who would probably have agreed with a lot of your opinions, by the way, went out there and never came back. A lot of them are still planted in the ground in foreign countries. And not for nothing, but that's part of the legacy of America, for good or for ill. And I think there's a little bit of both, frankly, in that. So, until next time, I'm Jim. I want to thank all of you for listening. I like not doing all the plugs at the end. Everybody just runs through them anyway, so just check the show notes. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Riot Chat, other avenues. Definitely sign up for one of those things because you never know what could happen. We might have to move again. Things happen. I try to keep this up in multiple places, but definitely get plugged in somewhere so that you can keep track of what's going on with the show, because in this thing, you never know. And I'll tell you what, if you don't get in the habit of doing that, with not just this show, but with all of your favorite people, we're not going to survive. Of course, if you're listening to me now, you know that already. Tip of the hat to you. You're the 10%. So, I want to wish all of you many sons and a lot of guns. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. May God bless you and keep you. And we'll see you next time. Good day.